Back live at Talladega Superspeedway as the Geico 500 is one pace lap away from getting started. This the elimination race in the contender round of the chase. So you got to be in the top 8 in the championship at the end of the day. Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick already through. Even Kyle Busch is only a half a race ahead of being eliminated. If he gets caught up in a wreck and finishes way back, he could be out. Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., they need a big day in order to get in. And updates on the 4 that are presently out, beginning with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Alan. You know, folks, in the history of NASCAR, no name has been more synonymous with success at these kind of super speedways than that of Earnhardt. Dale Sr.'s finest performance may have come right here in his final win when he charged from 18th to win it in the final 3 laps. Today, Dale Jr. needs to lean on the legend and legacy of the Earnhardt name and couple that with a little bit of luck and a whole lot of talent to put on a performance that we will remember for decades to come. Folks, these final 50 laps should be wild. Here's Vince Welch.
Yes, 6-time champion Jimmy Johnson is a long shot. 26 points behind the cutoff to move him on to the next round. But Johnson sees the glass as half full, telling me that under the previous chase formats, with an average finish of 15th, he'd have no chance at all. But under this current format, he does have a chance. All he has to do today is win, and he'll be back on equal footing in the next round. Jimmy Johnson has won here twice before. Don't count him out today. Dave Burns?
Remember how Brad Keselowski's chase started. He was the first winner and reaped the benefits of automatic advancement. But the second round hasn't gone as well, and today he's on the brink of elimination, unless he does something very champion-like. Now, Brad doesn't have to win the race today, but the math would be a whole lot cleaner if the Tuesday would end in a 1. Jamie Little?
Well, 1 week ago, the pressure and frustration boiled over for Matt Kenseth, going after Brad Keselowski after the race. Now he's 1 point away from advancing to the next round of the chase. And to add insult to injury, they had to change an engine. They will start last. Don't expect Matt Kenseth to stay there long. They've got to go for it, Alan.
So Matt Kenseth for the engine change, Brad Keselowski's team for an alternator problem, and Terry Labonte making his final NASCAR Sprint Cup Series start. Has to go to the back also. His team had to make some unapproved adjustments after the post-qualifying impound. So 2 2/3 miles around, 500 miles is 188 laps. The number of lead changes in this race will probably be 30 or better. Almost nonstop. And remember the unique location of the start and finish line at Talladega, not in the tri-oval, but past that, halfway between that tri-oval and turn 1. Massive crowd here on a beautiful day for a race that's fun for us, if frightening for the drivers. It's the Geico 500 at Talladega, the final race in the contender round of the chase. 4 drivers' championship hopes end today. That's Carl Edwards, who went down below the lines. Remember, you can't advance your position, but you can give them up. Heading to the back to play the safe strategy.
And that's really the smartest thing for those 5 drivers from 3rd back through 7th that can point their way into this by finishing in a certain spot. The one thing they have to do on that last lap, be moving forward, not getting past.
Ryan Newman bailing out, 31. And that's Ryan Blaney driving a 3rd Penske entry here this week in the 12.
Yeah, he could be a factor at the end of this race in some different ways. Certainly he would like to win that first Sprint Cup race of his career, but he could be a big factor in helping Brad Keselowski maybe get the victory lane and moving on into the next round of the chase.
Dale Jr., you were on board with up to 8th position after starting in 28th. It's going to be that kind of day. Guys from the back coming to the front, guys from the front going to the back, up and down and up and down.
Yeah, and there's a number of these drivers, like Jimmy Johnson, like Dale Jr., Brad Keselowski. They need to get that point for leading a lap.
Yep.
One of those really needs to lead the most laps to try to get that bonus point that could be beneficial to them at the end of the day.
If in the shakeup of things in the late laps, it does come down to the 1 point per position. Remember that now Jimmy Johnson has led a lap today. He gets a championship point for that.
Trevor Bayne sticks around the outside of Casey Kane. Watching these lines, looks like the outside lane is kind of taking the advantage here early. See him running right up next to the wall. Left Jimmy Johnson back about 5 or 6 car lengths on the bottom.
And it seemed that formed up and everybody decided to stay in line there more. And so that just, you could see everybody kind of left Jimmy and Brian Vickers down there to the inside. And when you don't have any help, it's going to be hard to move forward. See Jimmy now going to that outside.
It's almost like these drafts take on this personality of their own. It'll run around the top for a while, but if fast cars start running the bottom, you see it kind of shift down there.
I really did think it would take a while longer before we were going to see them get single file and up around the top of the racetrack. That just goes to show the importance of being around at the end and give yourself that opportunity.
But that just goes to show the narrow margin for error when Michael Annett in the 7 got forced wider. Casey Mears in the 13 right behind him had to give way or they were going to wreck.
These drivers that are going to the back, and we can see a group that's lost touch with that first big pack just a little bit. As these cars lined up along the outside and started going, they can make faster time like that. So you have to be careful not to lose that draft completely. Even if you get lined up, you may have a harder time running them down and becoming a big part of that draft, that front pack again.
You know, it's funny, as you watch this scoring ticker come across the top of your screen, and you see the yellow as the drivers that are currently in the chase, those points positions. Normally in most races, those top 10 running spots are all lit up in yellow. And here in this one, it's like most of the bottom 10 running spots are all lit up in yellow for the moment. You drop into the back hoping to have a little extra reaction time to miss a wreck if it happens in front of you, but at 200 miles an hour, that's not guaranteed for sure. The Geico 500 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series just underway. Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. Ryan Blaney leads in the Penske 12 after just 9 of the 188 laps. There's no better place for the aerial views than this one. And our aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Jimmy Johnson trying to lead an inside lane to form up and roll toward the front. Fourth car back in that line is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who went to the middle to try and find a lane to run, then went to the bottom, tried to go to the middle again. He's picked up a few spots on the bottom, and Junior really, like he told us during countdown, working hard to try and make it happen.
Yeah, he's got no choice but to be aggressive here pretty much all afternoon. He needs to lead.
Apologize for those mics cutting out. You were saying?
I say he needs to lead a lap and then the most laps that he possibly can to get as many points as he can here this afternoon. He's not getting a lot of help at this point in time, though.
Well, he looked like he tried a move that was going to put him at the head of that inside lane if he could have just cleared Jimmy Johnson earlier, but there just wasn't enough momentum there.
Which threw him from 7th back to 17th. Now you see he's moved back up to 10th. And 3 of the first 4 cars in that inside lane are Hendrick cars, trying to draft up toward the front.
Yeah, making all of this happen, you've got to really stay tucked up as that. And you see Jimmy, he's kind of moving around a lot on the track. If he's going to go up there, he needs to side draft. That's the best way to pull those cars apart up there at the top. I know he doesn't want to take a big chance of that, but that's the only way to slow their momentum.
And the other thing that's happening, you see right there, the inside lane is not nearly as organized and staying as single file and tight as they can, and so they keep losing a little bit of ground to the outside lane.
That's how you have to disrupt that top, is to be able, you saw Paul Menard right there get a little bit squirrely.
Now, these cars look very similar to what we see race every week, but they're a lot different, especially aerodynamically. They've got a lot smaller spoilers. They don't have near the stability. They have a lot less drag.
Seeing Jamie McMurray lead a draft up through the middle with Kevin Harvick and Trevor Bayne behind him. McMurray's car, NASCAR had been having its spotters look at earlier because of reports of a possible oil leak, but there apparently is nothing to that. And Jamie continues to chug forward in the number 1.
See another group that's come up there is Brad Keselowski in the 2. Pretty much most of the day you can expect to see at 22 on his bumper.
Junior trying to jump to the inside. Casey Kane jumping down there to block.
Somebody's leaking pretty hard in front of me here. Could be a tear off on the stop. Heard that the 1 car is leaking. He is in the middle lane ahead of the 4 cars. Keep digging the bottom here.
Yeah, if they can ever identify which car they think is leaking oil, they'll try to figure out a way to shuffle him out of the draft.
Now, speaking of shoveled out of the draft, at 2 and 22, lost some of the people that were in front of them, who moved up into that middle lane. Now Eric Almirola trying to go up through the middle with Jamie McMurray and Kevin Harvick behind him. Jimmy Johnson up front, pushing through Ryan Blaney to take the race lead here. Casey Kane behind him in the draft.
Yeah, the problem that Casey Kane's having a problem staying right there with Jimmy. I don't know if it's a heating issue that he needs to keep the car cool. Doesn't want to get it to that point of overheating at this point in time. But Jimmy's doing a great job of keeping this car out front or anywhere near the front.
Surge to the lead somewhere during a lap, but he can't seem to hold it at the start-finish line.
Yeah. He still only led the 1 lap there, that first lap, and Ryan Blaney's led all the other ones.
Really seeing Dale Jr. make some big moves, aggressive moves here early on. This is not some moves that we've seen him make here in the past. Just shows the importance of trying to get to the front. He wants to be in charge of this race today.
You heard his comments when he was in the pit studio during NASCAR Countdown. What were your reactions to them?
I think he's right. He's spot on with what he's got to do. You know, unless there's an early wreck that he's not a part of that takes all of these others and relegates them to a finish around 40th or something, he's only got one strategy to move on, and that's to win this race today.
Jimmy Johnson finally leads that lap. It's Johnson, Kane, and Earnhardt Jr. now, 1, 2, and 3, Dave.
Alan talked to the engineers on the 88 this morning about what they worked on in practice, and it was drivability. What he's doing, DJ, is partially because he has a lot more confidence in it than he did when the weekend started. He felt very uncomfortable around other cars. The squirrely word has been used already. That's how he felt about it, but they added some stability, and Junior can be aggressive.
Yeah, that's important, knowing that that's what you're going to have to be at the end of this race, making those moves. You've got to have the car under you.
So Jimmy Johnson to the lead, Casey Kane to second, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. to third. Can he find a way to race through and into the next round of the chase with a win at Talladega today? Jimmy Johnson leading the Geico 500 at Talladega Superspeedway in the 2. So the 3 drivers who started way outside of a transfer spot in the chase at the beginning of the day, Keselowski, Johnson, and Earnhardt Jr. running in 3 of the top 4 spots. And riding with Denny Hamlin, who's come from all the way in the back of the pack to be running 5th.
Yeah, what happened to his strategy of riding in the back? He said he was going to stay back there for a while.
You know, and sometimes things just open up and you see that, and he talked about to see, you know, the kind of the calmness, or on the other side of that, the craziness of this, the start of this race as to what he may do. He saw that things were rather calm for Talladega here at the beginning of this race. Not a lot of bump drafting and side drafting going on at this point.
Getting a little uncalm here up front.
Yeah, once they start any of the side drafting, which is what you do, especially if you're going to be in that outside lane and you're going to try to move your way forward, you're going to have to get on the right rear side door and quarter panel of those cars that are in that inside line to slow them down and break that line up.
Yeah, well, it has kind of a double effect. It actually helps reduce the drag of the outside car, but it also adds to the drag of the inside car. So it almost pulls them back and gives the outside car a little bit more boost.
And Dale Jr. continuing to be very aggressive at the front of the line, changing lanes, trying to get whatever the push is he needs to stay up front. Look at that.
Yeah, that might have been the lock right there that gets him to the front if the 2-car could get to his bumper.
Three wide.
You can see Logano in that middle lane. He's doing his very best right now to try to get pulled up, back up to the bumper of the 2-car. They're side drafting him from both sides, so that does make it difficult.
This kind of thing is when drivers talk about seeing the air and understanding the air and this maneuvering around to figure out which lane's going to move forward and trying to avoid the lane that's going to get shuffled back.
Yeah, there's air all around you, obviously, and what you're trying to do is maximize all of that air to your advantage. You're wanting to get the push from behind. You need that pull from the front just a little bit and trying to keep everybody off the sides of your race car.
Kevin Harvick losing some spots and bailing out, and he might have some visibility problems on that 4-car.
I'm going to have to do something here because whatever's coming out the back of the 1 is covering my window. Could be the 43. Clear low if you want. Clear low. Might be the 43. I think I'm going to have to go to the back, guys. This, I can't see.
You can see the windshield. I mean, it's covered in oil.
Yeah. Terrible feeling as a driver in this situation, not being able to see. You can see right there, he cannot see out of the front of this car.
I mean, even the car behind him, Landon Castle, he can't see through his car either.
Even the 2 in front of him. So
they've all encountered this coming up through. So it's a car that's been up there that they've all had to deal with.
Yeah, but Harvick spent a lot of time right behind Jamie McMurray in that 1 car, and that's who everybody says it's coming from.
So Kevin dropping all the way to the back, waiting for the first pit stop for a chance to get a windshield tear-off removed from that car. For the lead, Logano has finally gotten to Keselowski's back bumper, 2 and 22, trying to draft by 48 and 88.
And just to ensure that he's able to lead down here at the start-finish line, he pulled down in front of the 48 there to make sure he's going to get this bonus point. He'll probably get back up and be with Joey then, once he got that lap led.
Car just ahead of him is Mike Wallace, who was on and off pit road for an unscheduled stop back at lap number 2 and is about to be swallowed up and put a 9th lap down by the race leaders. Extended visit to pit road for the 49.
Just that last shot, you can see the car's moving around a lot. Not as stable as you would think they would be here.
And this gets very tricky as they're 2 and 3 wide here and trying to go around a slower car as they approach that. Not everybody can see that and understand it. As these guys make evasive moves, then it could leave somebody exposed there and something happen.
So Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski, who started the day 11th and 10th in points, have both led. Keselowski out in front now. Can he win and get in? Jimmy Johnson has reclaimed the lead in the Geico 500 after Brad Keselowski led 3 laps. Johnson pushed around the outside by Denny Hamlin, reclaimed the #1 spot. 42 cars in the lead pack and on the lead lap, caution free to this point at Talladega. Check out the biggest mover in the race, brought to you by Sprint. Brad Keselowski in that 2 had to drop to the back of the field for some repairs made on his car after the impound. Gained 37 spots in this one so far. Stay connected to the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with the Sprint Family Share Pack. 20 gigabytes of high-speed data to share, plus unlimited talk and text for $100 a month. Learn more at sprint.com/datashare. Now comes the part where we start to mention a lot of people you don't normally get to mention in, say, a race on a 1.5-mile track. Travis Kvapil, the blue 83 with a big white decal on the hood, running up toward the top 10. The 7 of Michael Annett for Tom Baldwin Racing, running up into the lead group. 33, driven today. I mentioned Kvapil just a minute ago. 83, J.J. Yaley was the other one. I knew there were some 3s involved there somewhere. Beginning to move up. It's Yaley who is in that the car with the big white decal in the outside lane, and Kvapil in the 33. And all of those cars now running in the top 10 at the moment. 3 wide. Junior in the middle.
Junior's been making all of these moves to try to get himself to the front and get a lap led, but has yet to be able to make it all the way to that top spot.
Now NASCAR has just told Jamie McMurray's team to have a plan together to fix if something is wrong on that one car on this first upcoming round of pit stops. Doc?
Yeah, crew chief Keith Rodden has confirmed they do have an oil leak on the back of the one. They are watching closely our cameras, their spotters, trying to see if they can figure out where the fluid is coming from. Their scheduled stop is 5 laps away, actually 4 laps away on lap 38. They will come in and take a look at the back of the one, but they have confirmed they know they're leaking oil out the back.
All right, Doc, thanks. Kyle Larson there in that 42. We thought we might have seen on the back bumper camera of that car earlier. We have a lens that continues to clean that camera off, but earlier we saw on our private feed here that there was some oil on the back of that one before the lens cleaned it off. You can still see some of the drippings there. So apparently it's a team thing.
Yeah, apparently it is something that they were doing. That is creating that situation with the 1 and the 42.
Yeah, I've had oil formulations that we found to make power at these racetracks that sometimes hard to keep in the tank. It makes a little more power, but it's so thin, and that oil gets kind of misty and it starts blowing out the breathers. I'm not saying this was happening here, but I've had that issue before.
They heard Doc say the first window for green flag pit stops is just a few moments away. We'll take a break and come back for them. They're always exciting here at Talladega. At the 100-mile mark of the Geico 500, about half the field is ducked in for its first set of green flag pit stops. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, and others. Close call there with Marcos Ambrose sliding out of his box. Now another wave heading onto the pit road as the first wave leaves, Johnson, Kane, and Earnhardt Jr. heading this second group. Dave?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on pit road. He'd been running in about the 6th position. He'll receive a wedge adjustment for the race car. He said it was pretty good, and the 88 will get 4 tires. As for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, he reported in that the car was good as well. They'll probably make a track bar adjustment on that anyway on the 48, Vince.
The 5 of Casey Kane, a 4-tire change for Kane. Down and away, Sunoco Fuel filling him up.
Troubles for Ryan Newman. As long as he gets going without losing the draft, he'll be okay. Third wave breaking off of turn 4. Denny Hamlin took the lead for a lap, collected a bonus point, and now he's in. Jamie?
And Matt Kenseth's been riding around the back. They wanted to get closer to the front. Right now, the call was for 4 tires. You see the tear off there. Fill them up with Sunoco fuel. Meanwhile, Carl Edwards in the 99. He's been running around in the backpack as well. A 4-tire stop here. They just want to maintain and play defense here in the 20s in. And let's go to Vince.
The 11 of Denny Hamlin a little loose, so they met a chassis adjustment for Hamlin and a 4-tire change down and away. Dave.
At the beginning of the run, Kyle Busch said the car is not loose, but the front end is not loaded. A very positive feel for the race car. He got 4 tires and Sunoco fuel.
Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Danica Patrick. Still to cycle through the pit lane. Here comes Gordon for his stop all by himself, Jamie.
And the 24 is what I was trying to say, was making his way onto pit road. The call was for right sides only. We'll see if they stick to that strategy to try to get a little track position, but you never know. They want to wait on him. Alan Gustafson with the call, get as much fuel as they can, and they stuck with their game plan.
So Gordon needing to get off the pit lane without getting a speeding penalty and then get up to speed and blend into this drafted cars.
Yeah, probably a great idea just getting 2 tires there to make sure that he could blend in with those.
So the leader of the race is Tony Stewart, who's about 2/3 of the way back in this line of cars. But all those cars ahead of Tony have just pitted under the green flag, so they're all on the tail end of the lead lap. Everybody that's behind Stewart is a lap down. And Danica Patrick there, neon green and pink, the only other car yet to make a pit stop under the green flag in this cycle.
Stewart's kind of positioning himself to make a pit stop. Not going to do it this lap, though, doesn't look like. The last thing you want to do is get caught up in the outside lane when you need to make that stop and have to run an extra lap, maybe risk running out of fuel.
And run out of fuel. I was going to say, they're staying out there a long time here.
And so the nervous pack forms again. Maybe staying out a long time on this cycle, but think about those extra 4 or 5 laps they just ran on fuel for later in the race. Might be a big deal. So Casey Kane will be the leader after Stewart and Patrick pit. Kane the 3rd place car, but not by much. Tony and Danica headed in. Doc?
4,600 RPM, 55 miles an hour for Tony Stewart. Most of the guys complaining the car's a little bit too free in traffic. He'll put tires on, adjustment, right, rear, chassis, left side tires going on. Got to get it full of Sunoco fuel. Vince.
The 10 of Danica Patrick led some laps here in May before being involved in an incident. Going to make a slight chassis adjustment, free her up a little bit. It's a 4-tire change for the 10 of Danica Patrick. Sunoco fuel to go with it.
So the cycle of stops complete, and that big snarling pack is racing for the lead. Jamie McMurray in the 1 on the outside, Casey Kane in the 5 on the inside. McMurray that lap. Good practice for the finish.
That's probably what the finish is going to look like, something similar to that.
Some of us have to think about those things, you know. I'm just saying. Green racing so far in the Geico 500. Settling out the contender round in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Today at Talladega. Next week we begin the Eliminator round. Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix to go from 8 drivers to 4 to set up who will compete for the championship. Next Sunday, our telecast from Martinsville presented by AutoZone ESPN, 1 Eastern time. How about a little short track, beating and banging, and a lot of folks thinking they absolutely must take advantage of a chance to win.
We'll make it exciting on that little half-mile racetrack. We'll see a lot of sheet metal bin up there.
Already I made a note to myself to look up the record for most cautions in a race at Martinsville before we get there next Sunday. Jamie McMurray, the new leader. Brad Keselowski popping on a line to challenge him. You see Casey Kane, who was the leader before, shuffled back now. Kurt Busch in that 41 took a run at the top spot, never got there. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been cycled back into the field after his attempt to pass Kane was blocked a minute ago. Jr. now back in 15th.
Probably as aggressive as I've seen Casey Kane be at one of these plate tracks.
So Casey Kane to the lead after the round of pit stops. A follow-up from Vince on Kevin Harvick.
We heard that radio with Kevin Harvick talking about the oil that was coming out of one of the cars onto his windshield and how he was going to need a tear-off. And they did certainly give him a new tear-off. And look at the difference it makes for Kevin Harvick as we look through that windshield. And I can tell you that with that oil on the front of it at 200 miles per hour, what a challenge that must have been in the traffic here at Talladega.
And you can't even imagine the challenge that is. Had that happen before, and it's just, you know, it's frightening as this is to race, and you see everything that's happening there, not being able to see up there exactly what's going on. It makes it even more of a challenge and nerve-wracking.
Starting to see the lead changes add up here. After Ryan Blaney and Jimmy Johnson led a lot of that first run of the race up to the green flag pit stops. Now Casey Kane takes command.
And we're having multiple lead changes that aren't recorded, but it's only officially recorded there at that start-finish line.
Just joining us, drivers that need to find a way to possibly win to get in, like Keselowski, Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson. They've been very aggressive, working their way to the front of the pack for this one, while others trying to protect a point spot to transfer into the next round of the chase, like Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch have been riding around at the back. Hamlin just dropped back to the tail of the field after making a run up through, and there you see Kyle running in 35th.
We're going to call that a 7. That's a 7 right there. A 10 is max savings. This is 7. Keep us posted the rest of the day when it counts. Yeah, I don't know if you could get better than that. Like, if you're trying to race, ain't no way.
Yeah, he's just gauging how much he's able to save fuel by running in the spot that he is in the draft and giving that feedback back to the team.
Ryan Newman has lost the draft. Started the day 4th in points, 21 points ahead of the cut line, but Newman now has fallen 12 seconds off the lead, 39th place, and he's lost this lead pack.
Yeah, we saw him have an issue leaving pit road where he choked the car down and they had to push him on, and then, so that's exactly, all it takes is that split second not to be a part of that. Right here, we'll see. See, as he goes, just didn't give it enough throttle as he released the clutch there. Just that little bit of time kept him from being a part as they freight trained by him after he came out of the pits.
There's a lot of racing left, but you can just see what can happen with one small mistake. He's just now a couple of points above the cut line as they run. David Reagan sure is impressive on these plate tracks.
Knows how to get it done, doesn't he? And of course, the equalizing that the draft does gives everybody a chance. The small teams know they come to Talladega, it's a chance for them to win.
Yeah, for a lot of drivers here, we keep talking about the chase drivers, and obviously that's an important thing, who's going to race for the championship. But so many others realize coming here, this is their last opportunity probably for the year to go to victory lane. They understand that. That gets the driver a little more excited, the team a little more excited about what they do, knowing that opportunity is here facing them today.
And even more so, I mean, just able to run at the front of the pack all day gives this team a lot of exposure. We're talking about them right now. Even if they don't win, they go out here and perform like this and get a lot of attention.
And that attention brings possible sponsorships, which then allows them to do a lot more things, be competitive here once again, and maybe at other places even more competitive.
David Reagan running in 4th position for Front Row Motorsports. Casey Kane leading. Jimmy Johnson has fought his way back up to second. Just about 150 miles into the Geico 500. We're just past 150 miles of the Geico 500, the final race of the contender round of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup here at the world's fastest speedway. Casey Kane is out in front. There are still 41 of the 43 starters on the lead lap, and all 43 running caution-free so far. Stay tuned for our NASCAR nonstop coverage in the second half of today's race, presented here at Talladega by Goodyear. And a quick reminder that NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy has enhanced race actions from today here at Talladega, including all the onboard views. So that car down to the inside being overtaken by the pack is Texas Terry Labonte, the two-time NASCAR Sprint Cup champ, saying this would be his final start. They had some troubles that lost the pack on pit road on their stop. And Terry, as I mentioned, a two-time champ. Trouble coming off turn 4. Joey Logano's around. And Jamie McMurray. First caution of the race.
Yeah, about half the field had to come down pit road to avoid that.
Which is perfectly legal.
Zip down there.
What happened off turn 4?
See Jamie McMurray just wiggle there, get loose. It's like he had a tire go down or something like that.
Right in front of Dale Jr.
That's a great job by a lot of drivers there to avoid that. You can see, as Andy pointed out, going down pit road. Let's see right here. See that car wiggle a couple of times. That just makes me think that there was a tire or something broke. See,
he's been leaking oil the whole race. I mean, it makes you almost wonder if he maybe got some oil in the tires. That car did go pretty quick.
Keep coming high, keep coming high, keep coming high.
Wow. They're just plowing up the
That's amazing. I'm sure they have a quite adequate fleet of lawnmowers here at Talladega to take care of that. That's certainly not what Logano intended. He drove backwards up the pit lane to get back to his stall. And there you see the Penske team working on it there. Of course, Joey already through to the next round of the chase with his win a couple of weeks ago.
He'll have a teammate in Brad Keselowski that really hates to see that car sitting on pit road getting repaired, because he was hoping of having a pusher towards the end of this race to help him win.
He still might. You know, that car's not hurt too bad. And even though he's a lap down, he might be able to find his way in position to help Brad.
So first caution of the race. Pit road's going to be open here. All the leaders were in under green between laps 38 and 44. We're here at lap 60, what'll be 62 now. And probably see everybody in for fuel.
Yeah, probably right sides and fuel.
Maybe some right side tires.
Kind of reset the shot clock.
And the pit road is open here.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. said his car was light in the back, positive in the front. They talked about just a two-tire change. Jimmy Johnson, no comments about his race car, although he's been staying at the front. He's going to get a wedge adjustment in that race car and just 2 tires. As for the 2 of Brad Keselowski, can you get back to the front? Yes, I can. Okay, we're going to stay and work on a little damage on the right side. Vince?
The 5 of Casey Kane says the car feels great, handling great. 4 tires, no changes for the 5 of Casey Kane. Jimmy Johnson was the first one off pit road.
So first caution out when Jamie McMurray, running right at the front of the pack, had trouble off turn 4, collecting Joey Logano, and in some of the sliding around, David Reagan and maybe Brad Keselowski got a piece of the stack up. Michael McDowell also with some possible damage on his car. Back live at Talladega, first caution out of the Geico 500. Brad Keselowski's team doing work on the 2-car. Brad having started in the back and raced his way up to contend for the lead, now damaged in this accident, along with Kevin Harvick, Michael McDowell, Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano, and the one that triggered it all, Jamie McMurray, who spun off of turn number 4 with an apparent flat tire on the 1-car. Watch all the people that get some damage in this.
You can see when this car starts spinning around, it looked like the 95 was the first one we got, but he's going to get into the side right there, the 2-car. Keselowski doing a great job of holding on, but he's got a lot of damage.
Down to Dave.
They spent a lot of time working in the aerodynamics of the right side of the race car, got pretty much center punched by the 1-car coming back across. One of the advents of the new era, if you will, car chief Jerry Kelly over the wall taking photos with an iPhone of the damage so that they can study it more clearly when they come back to the pit box, see if they can help Brad in any other ways going forward.
Little replay of that happening a minute ago. Now Jamie McMurray's car, it's the one that spun to start the whole thing. Doc?
Yeah, he complained he felt something start to vibrate suddenly. He thought he had a left rear or right rear tire. Now they told him he cut a left rear tire down, and they damaged the left side of the car. They replaced that rear fascia. You see the red part on the back of the car? That's the rear fascia, the rear bumper fascia that NASCAR would not let them leave and go back on the racetrack without. So a cut left rear tire, damage to the left side and rear of the car, repaired and back on the racetrack.
Kyle Busch back in after an extended stop for repairs a lap ago. A lot of Band-Aids on the nose of that one, Dave.
A little extra shelling on the front of that M&M's car on the left front side. It's on the bumper. It's not down on the splitter, but it's on the higher bumper side. So again, aerodynamics trying to get that right. Kyle contacted something in that skirmish.
Now we've seen a lot of beaten up cars still be able to run in the draft and perform well.
Oh yeah, you can utilize the draft. May not be as good out front as you would like it to be, but certainly in the draft you're okay.
I was listening to ESPN Radio the other morning, and on Mike and Mike they had the producer of this week's ESPN Films 30 for 30 talking about the film, and it sounds like a Clyde the Glide and
love those back in my day.
Walt Frazier and Red Holtzman and all the rest, and what they did for the city and the sport as well, and it should be a great film to see on Tuesday night. Ryan Newman, remember we talked about, lost the draft earlier.
Yeah, huge break for them. He had fallen back almost 30 seconds behind, but now able to catch up, still on the lead lap.
Josh Wise got the free pass at the caution. All of the cars involved in the accident except Joey Logano managed to stay on the lead lap through their repairs. Logano's one lap down in 40th. And NASCAR spotters checking Jamie McMurray's car for a right front tire rub, where we'd seen them do all that Band-Aid work on the 1 car.
See Dale Jr. up here. For somebody that's worked as hard as him and not been able to get all the way to the front and lead a lap yet, he's been in every spot possible trying to make that happen. See him back in second once again.
Jamie McMurray back to pit road in the 1 car to get further attention on it, while Jimmy Johnson leads to the tri-oval.
Jimmy's led more than twice the amount of laps of anybody else so far today. I'm sure that he'd like to have that extra point.
Yeah, he obviously would love to make sure that he's in this same spot whenever the checkered flag falls. But if not, he's doing everything that he can to accumulate as many points as possible, just in case someone up there in that top 8 should have some issues today.
Yeah, you never know.
And the thing is, you can never feel good about where you stand, right? As you look at those points as they run, yeah, Jimmy's leading and now is only 2 points behind Denny Hamlin at the cut line. But with those guys just riding around and back, you know aren't going to be there all day long. And knowing you've also got to miss the wreck and get to the finish, the only thing these guys can count on for sure, and I mean Johnson, Dale Jr. and Brad Keselowski, is winning. That's the only thing they can count on for sure to get through and continue on in the championship. Speaking of Keselowski, right side of the screen, 2 car trying to make his way back through. We heard the report from pit road. Can you make it back? Yes, they took the extra time to work on it, and he's halfway there, up to 14th.
Yeah, as you said, with the damage, when you're in this pack and you're getting a push and helping push, you can make all of that happen.
27.4 in your mirror.
It would be interesting.
Cars in front of you, 13, 23, 83, and 78. Pulling your lane clear low if you need it behind Eric.
Usually with just side damage, it's not as bad once you get to the front. That shouldn't have any issue if you can make your way back to the front.
Danica Patrick has moved her way up to 4th place now. We're in that top, yeah, the top 4th place. Doing a great job.
Marcos Ambrose with his final run here at Talladega. I got a chuckle out of Marcos's comments the other day when asked about this style of racing that he won't see anymore when he goes back to Australia and the primarily road course, or all road course, V8 Supercar Series. Said on the plate races, and I quote, "I've enjoyed it as much as you can."
That's exactly right, yes. Yes, it's kind of one of those things that you don't enjoy until you cross the start-finish line at the end of the day, if you're fortunate to do that. Then, obviously, the winner enjoys it the most, but those others that are able to drive across there and haven't had a lot of issues throughout the day, then you can look back and say, wow, that was a lot of fun.
We're certainly going to miss Marcos Ambrose, though. He's added a lot of flavor to the series.
He did. Great race car driver. Talked about the dry spell Jimmy Johnson had been in career long in terms of not leading races. 29 laps led today. But a lot left to go before the checkered flag waves on this one. Most laps Jimmy's led in a race since his win at Michigan back in June. 71 laps of 188 down at Talladega. The 6-time champ is in the lead. Look at the fans on the left, because the car on the right has taken the lead for the first time all day at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a push from his old friend Martin Truex Jr. out in front. Bonus point for lap led for the 88.
I have to say that he's earned that point right there. Hard as he's worked all day. Not that others haven't, but he has been up there a number of times, just hasn't ever gotten that right push.
They've made a lot of aggressive moves trying to get in the right lane and the right position. He finally gets it 76 laps in. He wanted to have control. We already talked about it at the end of this thing. He wanted to have control of the race and the restarts. And now he's figured out now how to get the lead. He'll spend these next few laps figuring out how to keep it.
200 miles in the Geico 500 at Talladega. 11 different drivers have led, 16 different lead changes.
Now, when you have the lead like this, how hard is it to be able to manage that and to manage these lines when they get runs?
Oh, I mean, you're looking in your mirror the entire time. You barely look out front. I mean, it's just a glance to the front. You don't have to worry about hitting or missing the line as much here. You can make all of that happen. The car will drive around there. But you've got to anticipate what they're going to do and what they're trying to do, how quickly they're coming at your back bumper.
Great look down on the world's fastest speedway from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
See Jimmy Johnson right there almost didn't give Martin Truex enough room there. He kept trying to inch his way down there thinking he was going to use that push. Truex had other ideas.
Little game of chicken.
Yeah.
See if you can make him lift.
Yeah, with Jimmy having the most to lose.
That's the one thing about today is we haven't really talked about everybody else in the race here. We did talk about their opportunity to win. At other racetracks, they could give those chasers more room. Here, you can't afford to do that if you have intentions and ideas of getting yourself in a position to try to win this. You have to take that spot. You have to side draft there as close as you possibly can to make all of that happen, and that's what creates accidents.
That looked a little dicey in 1 and 2 that time.
Casey Mears, 13. Another solid run here at Talladega. Again, another opportunity for one of the smaller teams to shine. So Junior, Truex, Danica, then side by side, Mears and Jimmy Johnson, with Kurt Busch and Paul Menard double wide behind them.
And you mentioned earlier J.J. Yeley up there in that 83 car, still up in the top 10, doing a great job.
The BK Racing team, chance to show off.
Paul Menard trying to mount a charge on the outside.
And the second yellow car in that line there behind him, now 3 wide on the outside, is Landon Castle, whose name, it seems like, always comes up in these Daytona Talladega races.
Yeah, you have these drivers, and their cars are very capable here, and they're very capable. You know, they're not waiting till the end of this race. They know that they can make noise right now, and that's what they're up here trying to do, get themselves situated to the front. Get those sponsors on TV, doing a great job of it.
Front 8 now single file. Last one in that line is Kevin Harvick, who's made his way back up after extended time on pit road after the only caution we've had so far. There you see the run on Harvick since the restart.
You see Keselowski making his way back there. He's got a teammate there. That 12 car is Ryan Blaney this weekend. He's helped push Brad back up. Now he's on the bumper of Harvick, getting a little tow.
Three deep here. Larson, Yaley, and Castle.
Well, we've got a very interesting scenario here.
And Michael Lynette, sorry, DJ.
I'm sorry. But we're looking at the front part where drivers that need to win this race to move forward in the chase. Then we've got this middle group here who are all trying to win a race here, make a name for themselves, get their sponsors on TV, doing all that. And then we've got those guys that can point their way in, another group that's back behind there. So kind of 3 different agendas happening all at once.
Yeah, we talk about strategies and what strategies people needed to use today, and it is a mixed bag because you've got guys that basically don't have anything to lose and trying to win the race. They're trying to get their way up to the front. But the guys that have something to lose are protecting their position, or protecting their car, so they'll have something to race at the end.
Casey Kane running 28th, Jeff Gordon 31st, Ryan Newman 35th, Carl Edwards 36th, Kyle Busch 37th, Denny Hamlin 38th. All well out behind this knot of 3 wide drivers. Not yet to halfway at Talladega in the Geico 500. pressure of an elimination race in the contender round and the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup coming here at Talladega, where so much is out of a driver's control. A look at the positions the drivers in the bubble spots race in right now, shy of halfway still, and what it means to the championship picture. Again, a lot of those drivers above the yellow line intentionally choosing to ride around at the back of the field for the moment, while others like Junior, Keselowski, and Jimmy Johnson charging to the front, knowing their best chance of advancing is to win. There's the 10-car breakaway group at the head of the pack. 88 Dale Jr. leading, 12 Ryan Blaney at the back end of it.
You kind of like this to settle down at the front just so you can breathe and relax just for a little bit, because you know as this race winds down, it's going to be more intense than ever.
Really? You can breathe and relax bumper to bumper like that?
Right there, you're okay. Yeah, that's not
compared
how bad
at the end.
Yes.
We got a group now racing. We're going to get drug off the front group. Let's try to get everybody lined back up here again.
Kyle Busch always thinking, always looking out the windshield of that car.
Yeah, and he's talking about what we were talking about before we went to commercial there, about how that group in front of them at the back were racing 3 wide, and they had lost touch with that front group. Kyle's concern was that we're going to be up here. We've got to go get in part of that so that we don't totally lose touch with this race.
It's all coming back together now, though. It seems like the whole field is.
Jeff Gordon running back in 33rd position. Also riding around out in the back most of the day in the 24 car.
Yeah, right now it's not about leaders. It's about this group ahead of us. Yeah, I just don't want them wrecking.
Eddie DeHaan, Jeff's spotter. On the radio with Jeff there also at the tail end. It's really what it's all about. You're back there to be able to miss the mayhem, but the closer the mayhem is to you, the less your chance is to miss it.
Yeah, they didn't mind that happen up at the very front of the pack. Matter of fact, they would much preferred that. They just didn't want, they couldn't lose touch with that group that was racing 2, 3, and 4 wide in front of them. But finally, those guys had held their breath as long as they could. They had to relax for a little bit.
Second line has now run up and caught the tail end of the top 10. Kyle Larson with a move to the outside has passed Ryan Blaney. Now he's working on Brad Keselowski for what is the 9th position.
And in that whole big group there that you see approaching that, there's a race within a race there too. The 22 of Joey Logano, first car a lap down right now, racing Terry Labonte back there, who obviously in his last start would like to get himself back on the lead lap.
Terry and Joey, the only 2 a lap down. Joey's got about 1, 2, 3 cars between himself and Labonte. They're both riding in that outside line. There's Terry in that yellow and red 32. Painted up to look like his championship car when he drove for Hendrick Motorsports. Martin Truex getting the shuffle. Paul Menard had Kevin Harvick pull out behind him in that outside lane, and they're going to make a run.
See Casey Kane trying to go forward as he'd been up the front of the pack a lot of the day.
all the years I've been coming here, when you watch these drivers in this draft like this, each and every lap, you're kind of on edge, waiting for something to happen. They're so close together at such high speed.
Yeah, when it gets doubled up like this and people start making moves, the drivers are the same way. You're on edge, too. You know that you're just a split second away from being involved in a huge accident.
Kasey Kahne with a move, shuffling Trevor Bayne to the middle lane. And they're 3 wide again in the middle of the field.
See Matt Kenseth finally making a move towards the front of the pack. I expect him to be there trying to win this race when all is said and done. One of the best restrictor plate drivers and racers that we have. And he's in that situation. Yeah, he could point his way in, but he knows the best way is to be up there battling for the win at the end.
Matt started last in the field after an engine change on this 20 car. Jamie?
And I talked to his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, this morning, and he said, we really want to be toward the front all race long, so it took them longer than anticipated to move forward. But he said, we're a win car. We need to win today, and in order to do that, we need to be toward the front. So they are on the move, and that's where they want to stay, up front the rest of the race.
Matt started the race 9th in the championship, just 1 point or 1 position on the racetrack behind Kasey Kahne, but he's at Talladega. That 1 spot may be out of his control, so it's much better to win and get in if you can. Tomorrow on Monday Night Football, number of Steeler fans on our TV crew.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Every time I watch the Texans and J.J. Watt, I swear there's more than one number 99 out there.
Yeah.
It seems to be everywhere.
Here at Talladega, Alabama, we've just crossed the midway point of the Geico 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader. The elimination race from the contender round and the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. 12 drivers started the day championship eligible. 8 will be championship eligible after this one is over. Just 1 caution in the race so far when Jamie McMurray cut down a tire and spun off turn 4 at lap 60. He collected Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, and Michael McDowell also caught a piece of it. Otherwise, we've been clean and green through these 250 miles. And 38 of the 43 starters are on the lead lap. All 43 are still on the racetrack and running in the race.
As I watch this part of the race, it's just rather calm. A lot of great racing, obviously, but you just think ahead. You just can't help. When you get to lap 180, the intensity, the level of pushing and side drafting, how much that's going to get magnified as these drivers try to be the first one across the finish line.
You were with us earlier on NASCAR Countdown. Dale Jr. was in the pit studio talking about how he and Steve Letarte were going to be aggressive. They were going to gamble on strategy. They were going to do what they had to do to keep their track position. Jr. saying earlier this weekend here that he wanted to be the control car for the final 2 or 3 restarts in this one. That means being the leader and the guy able to dictate which lane goes first. He thought that would be his best chance to win here today.
Yeah, that's the position you want to be in, is the one that's out there that blocks, that makes whichever line go the fastest to stay out front. Do the things that you know that you can do. Have it in your control. You don't want to be at the mercy of someone else at the end of this.
You know, he said he wanted to ask who would he like to see in his mirror on that last lap pushing him. It wasn't the guy that's pushing him right now.
No, that's not the guy that he wants there for sure.
Yeah.
Long way till that point. But
he wanted somebody that was already secure, like a Logano or maybe even a Harvick, and look up and see that maybe they'll push me to the win. I don't think that 48 is going to push him to the win.
He didn't need someone that'd be as desperate for a win as he would be in that position behind him.
Casey Mears up there doing a great job. You pointed that out. He does a really, really good job of positioning himself. We talk about David Reagan, who has won on these type tracks at both Daytona and here at Talladega, but Casey Mears does a fantastic job himself. Hasn't had a lot of luck in getting to the end in those good positions, but does a great job.
There are the numbers on Casey. Having a fine day in a big race for his sponsor.
Yep.
Watching Kasey Kahne in that outside lane in the 5 try and mount a charge back toward the front. Got shuffled toward the back of the line earlier when they started racing 3 wide around him. Now he's trying to move back forward again. His team kind of teetering in position of deciding whether to hang at the back or move to the front at one point. And obviously the driver's made the decision and he feels good enough about it to go.
Well, it looks like he's got the car to be able to do the things that he wants to do, and he feels like that he can better control his destiny and this race today by moving forward and being up towards the front of this. And, you know, Casey is one that, you know, right to the very end worked his way into the chase as we start the pit stops.
Brad Keselowski makes the first move from 6th place. 6 cars in. Dave?
Not a lot of complaining about that right side. Said the handling was a little free and a little tight on the exit at the end, but kind of concerned about the car being too hot. There's not a lot of debris on the front of the race car, but they're just watching the temperatures on that 2 car. Water pressure was okay. He'll get a wedge adjustment this time.
Trouble on the track, Dave. Cars colliding on the back straightaway. Alex Bowman, 23. Tony Stewart, more piling in. Is that Kyle Busch in the inside wall? 18 car all torn up. We're done. J.J. Yaley.
Garage, straight to the garage, straight to the garage.
83 involved, but the big story here, Kyle Busch. Riding around in the back in the safe strategy mode, caught up when trouble happened in front of him, and now Dave Rogers and the Gibbs team have to go into their disaster drill to see what they can salvage out of this day.
Yeah, you'd have to think that the 18 got hit from behind probably in trying to avoid or slow down to miss everything happening in front.
Yeah, it's hurt. I mean, the rear clip's knocked off of it.
Flat tire on Ryan Newman's car. Eric Almirola. There's Yaley.
I think this happened right around the 43 and 83.
And Alex Bowman.
So Tony Stewart gets some damage to that from that inside wall.
Here are the flat tires. Yeah, that car's used up pretty good. They're going to have to spend a lot of time fixing that one.
All right, let's see if we can figure out what happened.
This probably comes from just a push that went wrong.
Yeah, it looks like Almirola got into the back of Yaley, just at the wrong little angle and just pushed him in the right side.
And Kyle Busch there in the smoke gets run into from behind, looked like by Austin Dillon, the 3 car. Looked like Kyle Busch was going to be fine, but when all the smoke, Austin Dillon not able to slow down and runs into the back of the 18.
Now, was the 43 being pushed by the car behind him?
Kyle Busch right there.
Yep.
He had slowed down and missed it and got run into by the 3 car.
A.J. Allmendinger with a piece of that also, Doc.
Kurt Busch on pit road saying the car very, very free. Going to be 4 tires, 1 round down on the track bar in Sunoco fuel. Dave.
4 tires only for Dale Jr. and a full load of Sunoco fuel. The Jimmy Johnson car, it'll get 4 tires as well. He took 2 last time.
The 5 of Casey Kane. They like the way the car's been handling throughout the course of the day. It's a 4-tire change. Crew Chief Kenny Francis reminded them, got to get it packed full of fuel. He's down and away. Harvick, the first one off pit road.
Dave Rogers there walking around the far side of the car, surveying the damage. And the Joe Gibbs team will go to work. Kyle Busch started the race, the highest up in points above that cut line of everybody that didn't have a win. But he's the first one in trouble here at Talladega. You'll see it all with NASCAR Nonstop, presented today by Goodyear. Trouble on the back straightaway, just past halfway.
In NASCAR, there's nothing a fan, team, or driver wants more than to be first. First on the leaderboard, first out of the pits, first to the checkered flag. In the nation, being first is just as important. At Nationwide, we put members first because we don't have shareholders. It's why the Earnhardt family has trusted Nationwide for more than 35 years.
Nationwide is on your side.
The Beam family has a long history of doing things their own way. In fact, they age every drop of Jim Beam twice as long as the law requires for a true Kentucky straight bourbon. So, 4 long years from now, I'll be back for this one. That's how Jim Beam makes history. How will you make yours?
Maybe you sat here when the dust settled. Or here when the tempers flared. Or here where standing ovation took on a whole new meaning. Well, from where I sit, this Daytona 500 is a chance of a lifetime.
It's your last chance to experience the Daytona you've always known, and your first chance to say hello to the future. Call 1-800-PIT-SHOP or visit Daytona500.com.
It's hard to find an expert more dedicated than John Clayton. He's the consummate pro.
We'll see how the 4-3 and the cover 3 work together.
John Clayton with the latest.
Thanks, Dan. Take care.
From the NFL, Drew Brees answers the $100 million question. Rejuvenated Alex Smith talks about her.
And whenever we need a brilliant insight, he's available at the drop of a hat.
Hey, Mom! I'm done with my segment!
Back at Talladega, Kyle Busch, the first of the chase drivers to have a major issue here this afternoon. In the garage, working on the car after a big wreck just a few laps ago, and we are under caution for the second time today. Inside the Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio with Rusty and Brad. We knew it was coming. We knew someone would have an issue today. It just took a little bit longer than maybe we thought.
Yeah, it was just so calm out there right now. Everybody logging laps, trying to get to the halfway point at least, which they did, and now closing in towards the end of this race. And just a racing mistake happened out there. That was it. I mean, it looks like Austin Dillon got in the back at 18 car. Tough
So our 5-hour energy rapid recap. Let's take a look at what exactly happened and how it started going wrong for Kyle Busch. Lap 103.
Yeah, we got Junior leading the race, and all of a sudden it looks like the 83 gets into the wall, he gets turned. Kyle Busch looks like he's trying to get slowed down as we look at it, and it looks like the 3 gets into the back of him, and he gets into the 47, the 18 does. They both slam into the inside wall. Kyle Busch has got a ton of damage.
Yeah, I'm afraid he can't get that car fixed. I don't think so. It's really damaged real bad. Right now, he's at 8th in the points, Nicole, and I got a feeling he's going to fall out of this thing. He's got major damage. So much so, I don't think he can get the car back in the race.
You look up at the top of the screen, guys, you can see him right there getting blowed up.
Back in the garage, this is what teams prepare for. You bring a crash cart, you have to be prepared for the worst at Talladega.
Yeah, as long as the frame didn't get twisted. It looks like the body on that race car, the chassis is actually twisted. And if that happens, that's a huge problem.
Yeah,
other than tie rod ends and ball joints. You can fix that. You can't retwist that frame, though.
The problem they got, just what you said, Brad, the whole back of the car is knocked really bad out of shape. Yeah. The front of the car is tore up. I call that one of the worst wrecks I've seen in a long time, to expect the car to get back into the race. It's really, really tough. Tony Stewart got a big portion of it. He got hurt. But this is a massive setback right now. Bad day so far for Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch in the garage, out of the race, off the track right now. More from Talladega, the final 82, when we come back.
Sprint has done it again. First, there was the Sprint Family Share Pack. A family of 2, 4, or even 10 gets unlimited talk, text, and 20 gigabytes of data to share with the entire family for only $100 a month. That's double the high-speed data of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Double the data. And now check out Sprint's new unlimited plan. Individual lines of unlimited data, talk, and text at just $50 a month per line. Our lowest price ever. $100 a month for the family, $50 a month for individual lines. Sprint, it's the best value in wireless.
Getting the new DQ $5 lunch with not one but 2 crispy chicken wraps? That's like...
You've got 1 wrap plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Do you want to spin for more?
Yes, I'll spin for more!
He's gonna spin for more! Right. Great spin. You did it!
Who's the big winner?
Everyone.
The new Chicken Wraps $5 lunch, only at your DQ. This is fan food, not fast food.
Living Beyond Breast Cancer is a lifeline for so many people.
It's more than a community, it is a family.
There's always a hug. You're friends for life. When I needed guidance and I needed support, Living Beyond Breast Cancer was there.
Last year, 5 Hour Energy raised over $340,000 for Living Beyond Breast Cancer. Purchase this specially marked bottle now through December 31st.
And a portion of the proceeds will help breast cancer survivors live beyond their diagnosis.
You pay your auto insurance premium every month on the dot. You're like the poster child for paying on time. And then one day, you tap the bumper of a station wagon. No big deal, until your insurance company jacks up your rates. You freak out. What good is having insurance if you get punished for using it? Hey, insurance companies, newsflash. Nobody's perfect.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Monday Night Football, Texans, Steelers, tomorrow 8:15 on ESPN.
Doubled up for the restart of the Geico 500. After a chase-changing moment for Kyle Busch, the 9-car accident on the back straightaway, and you saw the work going on the 18-car back in the garage area. Ryan Blaney, 12. Marcos Ambrose, 9. Blaney, the leader, choosing the outside lane for the restart. And we go back at it with 80 laps to go. Blaney to the lead, Castle to second, Kevin Harvick pushing him. Here's Landon Castle for the lead at Talladega. And he's got it.
Four's with you. 12's got lined up at the 88. They're 2 rows back. 1. 12's alongside the 4. They clear by 2 on the both of them.
Once again, just a great example that all of these teams that come here are part of this race, can get out front, can lead, and possibly win.
Dale Jr. going to shoot the gap up the middle, 3 wide.
Still in the middle, help comes to you. That's you. Be closest, 40 still on you. Pretty tight there in your mirror.
He would have won at lap 188, but we're not there yet. That was a heck of a move.
Harvick through on the inside lane, Earnhardt Jr. on the outside lane, Keselowski right behind him. And Jimmy Johnson lurking right there in 5th. Here comes Matt Kenseth also in the 20. Junior by a smidge on that one.
Wow.
Four down there, buddy.
Call it
Just before.
001.
Yeah.
By the scoring monitor.
Having seen what happened to Kyle Busch, you got to think it's making a lot of these guys really nervous right now, especially with the sense of urgent racing here in the front.
Yeah, they understand that that's where they need to be, but the chances they're having to take and putting themselves in some pretty difficult positions to stay up here, try to lead the laps.
Yeah, with Kyle Busch, he was trying to stay in the right position and stay out of trouble. And it's kind of a position that got him in trouble.
Yeah, you know, all you can do is do your job. He had done his job. He had stayed out of the way. He had slowed down, was going to avoid the accident, but you can't drive the other people's cars too.
Now Kevin Harvick to the lead. Marcos Ambrose pushing him. Jimmy Johnson looking for a path through to get back to the front.
Yeah, that 9 car has found his way to the front a few times today.
And still Newman, Gordon, Edwards, Hamlin hanging out at the back of the pack.
Yeah, those drivers with Kyle Busch's problems, their job became a little bit easier here this afternoon. With Gordon and Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, they're going to be able to approach this a little bit differently, even be more patient than what they had planned on being.
Denny Hamlin, the only one of them that's made a run up to the front in the race at any point and ran all the way up to contend for the lead before dropping back again.
And actually stayed out on one of the earlier cautions, led a lap, so he got that bonus point in his pocket.
Now Jimmy Johnson outside of Kevin Harvick. Jimmy in the 48, Dale Jr. in the 88 just joining us have been extremely aggressive in pursuing laps led and the lead all throughout this race. And Keselowski behind him in the 2 got damage in the lap 60 caution flag, took a shot on the right side door of the 2, went all the way to the back of the pack for repairs, and there you see has come back up to contend for the lead.
Yeah, all 3 of the cars that have to win to get through the next round are right there up front.
Jimmy Johnson to the lead.
Yeah, one of those 3 could possibly point their way by leading the most laps, finishing second, and one of those drivers hanging out the back, getting in the wrong lane or going backwards at the end of this race on the last lap. So you might have one of them, but it's going to be tough even with that if one of those other 2 happen to win this race. That's going to take one of those top 8 spots away. So you better go win is what I'm saying, yeah.
Yep.
All 3 of them look like they have a car capable of doing that today.
Kurt Busch breaking out low, 41 car, putting Ambrose in the center lane.
Yeah, that tri-oval area is the area that I'm next expecting something to break out. That's a difficult area. The cars get light there. These guys are making some very aggressive moves in that part.
Casey Kane on the outside, Casey Mears on the inside, Ambrose in the middle. .73 laps to go. Just past 300 miles of the Geico 500 at Talladega. NASCAR nonstop today presented by Goodyear.
Before earning enough cash back from Bank of America to help entertain some friends at the beach. Before earning 1% cash back everywhere, every time. And 2% back at the grocery store. Even before he got 3% back on gas. All with no hoops to jump through. Raphael was inspired to use his Bank Americard Cash Rewards credit card to spend a night watching the stars under the stars. That's the beauty of rewarding connections. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
In NASCAR, there's nothing a fan, team, or driver wants more than to be first. First on the leaderboard, first out of the pits, first to the checkered flag. In the nation, being first is just as important. At Nationwide, we put members first because we don't have shareholders. It's why the Earnhardt family has trusted Nationwide for more than 35 years.
Nationwide is on your side.
Kevin Harvick wins it at Charlotte. I've never seen the drivers under this much pressure before. The two-car of Brad Keselowski, the 48 of Johnson, the 88 of Dale Jr., they are certified in trouble.
The contender round.
This is no time to be timid.
The countdown has begun.
If you thought the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup was hot before, it's boiling over now.
It's all or nothing. We're in the heart of the battle here.
4 will be done in Dega.
It's time to prepare for glory or defeat.
What is it that makes them a team that would deserve to be in the playoff?
Who do you think is the best and who has accomplished the most?
I think the SEC is only going to get one.
The 4 playoff teams right now.
Election committee will determine the top 25.
The committee's going to have their hands
on
a
task that I do not
envy. I see a lot of good teams. I don't see one elite team.
I think this will add to the regular season.
It's going to be chaos by the time we get to December.
College Football Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show, October 28th at 7:30 on ESPN. Presented by Allstate.
Inside the final 200 miles to the Geico 500 Talladega Super Speedway, the elimination race in the contender round of the chase. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski, the 3 drivers who just about need to win to get in, running 1, 2, and 3 at this point. Check on the number of lead changes so far today, brought to you by Sprint. The tally about what we expected it would be, and it will only continue to grow as we run through these final 200 miles. Stay connected to the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with the Sprint Family Share Pack. 20 gigabytes of high-speed data to share plus unlimited talk and text for $100 a month. Learn more at sprint.com/datashare. So 3 drivers who need to win to get in, running 1, 2, and 3. A group of others trying to play it safe, running at the back. Jeff Gordon's 29th, Ryan Newman 30th, Carl Edwards 31st, Denny Hamlin 32nd, and the other major headline of the day so far, an accident just a little while ago at lap 103 where Kyle Busch, running in that, quote, safe position, got hit by another car and crashed. And the driver the highest up in points that didn't have a win in this round of the chase coming in now finds himself back in the garage area with his car being worked on for the last 19 minutes. Change for second. Brad Keselowski moving forward.
Yeah, it looked like Brad moved out, and Junior thought that he wanted to go and make a run. As Junior pulled out, then Brad went back to the inside.
Yeah, he said, I'll just take that spot.
That's the kind of people you're dealing with out there, and you have to know that. We heard Junior say that they asked him about making deals when he was in the pit studio earlier today. He said, basically, you could have that, but you can't believe anything they tell you. Circumstances will change that, and you just can't believe anything any of these guys tell you.
Yeah, for Brad Keselowski, though, the further he can get that 88 back in this pack, the better off his chances are going to be.
And the work continues on Kyle Busch's car. And really, Andy, the strategy for them is get this car out where it'll meet minimum speed, and then they're expecting there's going to be another big wreck.
Yeah, that's why they're working so hard on this thing. But they've got to get it where it will make basically a lap. The minimum speed is 56.4 seconds. They've got to make that car run that speed consistently to be able to stay on the track without getting black flag. That's the mission right now. Is as fast as you can get it done, but make sure that it makes minimum speed.
And for them, and I say this respectfully, not wishing any other driver bad luck, but for them, the sooner the big wreck happens, the better it is for them.
Took the words right out of my mouth, and certainly we're not advocating or looking for an accident. It's going to happen. It's a matter of when it does. It's just the racing's going to get too intense as this winds down. But for them to take advantage of that hard work and effort that they're making, they need that to happen very, very soon, probably, for it to do them any good.
Brian Vickers here, about to be overtaken by the race leader's 55 car. He got some damage in that crash that involved Kyle Busch and Eric Almirola and J.J. Yaley and others. And the pole sitter for today going a lap down here. So everybody in all of these bubble spots watching the points tally that they have on a computer screen in front of them and counting the laps.
As of right now, if one of those guys were to win, we would be out because we're sitting in a P8 right now. It would be in, who's the one position ahead of me? 24 is 3 points ahead, 99 is 3 points ahead, 5 is 5 points ahead.
So what Darian Grubb is pointing out to Denny is that by being in the 8th position in points right now, if Junior or Jimmy Johnson or Brad Keselowski wins this race, then that's another spot out of the top 8 that transfers through. Then there's only 5 positions on points, and you're sitting 6th right now.
And you can see just how dynamic that was. That was just a few laps ago that we heard that radio. And then by this time, Gordon now is plus 11, so it's moving every lap. It's hard to track, really, to the end of the race.
And it will move significantly at the end of this race when Denny Hamlin and the rest of these guys decide to start moving forward and making up spot and changing spots. And all they have to do is be patient enough to wait long enough that they can make all of that happen and not put themselves in too much danger.
So Dale Jr., 88, tried the high line, couldn't get anything going, couldn't get anyone going, and now he's all the way back to 11th spot.
That was Brad Keselowski's strategy when he hung him out there. Try to get him as far back as they can. When he's up there in that top 3 or 4, he's within striking distance to take that transfer spot away from them.
You know, what's going to be interesting as we get down to the end of this race are people like Harvick, who's already through. Marcus Ambrose wants to win a race, but who does he help? Who does he push? Who do these guys get that push from to allow them? You know, who do they choose as that person they're going to maybe push into the next round?
That's a lot of power.
It is. Or who do they back off of that rear bumper so they don't move on?
There you go. A little ways from finding out. 62 laps to go now at Talladega.
Monday Night Football, Texans, Steelers, tomorrow 8:15 on ESPN.
Let's go. 50 Omaha, set hot. Right there, nice.
Losing feeling in my toes. Nothing beats that new car smell. Chicken parm, you taste so good.
Nationwide is on your side.
Getting the new DQ $5 lunch with not one but 2 crispy chicken wraps? That's like...
You've got 1 wrap plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Do you want to spin for more?
Yes, I'll spin for more!
He's gonna spin for more! Right. Great spin.
He did it! Who's the big winner?
Everyone.
The new Chicken Wraps $5 lunch, only at your DQ. This is fan food, not fast food.
Kevin Harvick wins it at Charlotte. I've never seen the drivers under this much pressure before. The 2-car of Brad Keselowski, the 48 of Johnson, the 88 of Dale Jr., they are certified in trouble.
The contender round.
This is no time to be timid.
The countdown has begun.
If you thought the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup was hot before, it's boiling over now.
It's all or nothing. We're in the heart of the battle here.
4 will be done in Dega.
It's time to prepare for glory or defeat.
What'd you win now?
Golden water cooler. Got it for a joke I told in the break room.
What was the joke?
It was...
It's about me, wasn't it?
Yes.
Can I at least keep it on my desk?
No.
I think we see Willis coming out.
What if I told you the Garden was a party? ESPN Films presents a 30 for 30 film, When the Garden Was Eden, Tuesday at 9 on ESPN.
The Geico 500 at Talladega is brought to you by Sprint. Introducing the Sprint Family Share Pack. It's the best value in wireless.
Talladega Superspeedway, About 40 miles to the east of Birmingham and 100 miles to the west of Atlanta along the interstate, I-20. And right next to the highway, they're running some high-speed action for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on the world's fastest speedway. Jimmie Johnson leads the pack at Talladega with 59 laps to go. About to hit the 350-mile mark. And so much yet to be decided today in this elimination race in the contender round of the chase. Okay, there's your lead lap. 32 of them. All running within 4 seconds.
About time that this outside is going to be able to make a push at these guys. I don't know why it takes a little while for that to happen, but you get a fast car like Paul Menard and Junior get hooked up there together, and they can start making their way forward.
Caution for debris on the racetrack. Someone has just scuffed off the wall. There it is. Michael McDowell, that's, wow, just scuffed it.
That's a hard hit.
Yeah.
Like a right front went down.
Yeah, he had damage earlier when he got hit by the one car when he spun off of turn 4, so probably had a rub there.
So third yellow out, McDowell heads back to the garage, joining the cars of Eric Almirola, Alex Bowman, J.J. Yaley, and Kyle Busch. Let's check in with Doc.
We're continuing on the front of the 18 car. We're with Joe Gibbs. And, Coach, how badly was the car hurt, and how close are you?
It was really hurt. We had rear end damage. We got hit from behind. Forced us into somebody in the front. The whole front fascia was gone. Our guys have done a great job, but we had to replace a lot of the front end. And I know there's a lot of M&M people out there. Just stay pull for us to see if we get this thing back out there. Our guys are going after it as hard as they can.
They are climbing all over this car. And Joe said the front clip was okay, radiator and all the front suspension had to be replaced. And they are very, very close. Their spirits were lifted when this yellow came out a moment ago to be able to get this car back on the racetrack very quickly. Alan?
28.5 minutes now of work on this Kyle Busch car. And now we'll look at what happened to Michael McDowell. Let's put us under this caution.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Hard hit. Yeah, right front just let go.
McDowell taking damage in the lap 60 caution back off of turn number 4 when Jamie McMurray cut down a tire and spun into the pack. Stops here will be with about 55 laps to go. That's outside of a fuel run.
Yeah, that's well outside. That's probably 10 or 12 laps outside of the window. But they'll probably still pit just so they can all get back in sequence and maybe be able to make a short stop there at the end.
Yeah, we were kind of lined up there that to where it was going to take one more stop if this thing would have gone out to green, that everybody could have held that track position there and made that green flag stop and then made it to the end. But going to bring up some interesting situations once again.
The problem is if you stay out here, you have to take a full tank of fuel to make it to the end and pit early. So I don't think they would do that.
You're Denny Hamlin, you're Jeff Gordon, you're Ryan Newman. We heard Denny talk about when he was thinking he needed to start making his run to the front. We're down to 56 laps to go here. When do you start your move?
Not even close. Not even close to this. I'm telling you, if these guys would work together between the 4 of them, they could make their way with 3 laps left in this race. They could pass enough cars to ensure that they move on to the next round. I know that sounds crazy, but Denny Hamlin proved early on that he can make his way to the front. Those are 4 drivers that are very capable. If they stuck together, they could pass enough cars. So, but it's so tempting to want to go and get yourself positioned up there.
Yeah, I can tell you that you're hearing that from somebody that knows how to do it better than anybody I've ever seen. Dale's done that, hung out the back and timed it perfectly quite a few times. That's why they call it the Dale Jarrett strategy.
I don't know if that's flattering or not, but it worked a few times.
You took home the trophy. Pit stops here, 55 to go. Doc?
Kurt Busch will be 10 laps short on fuel. They're going to put 4 tires on it, 1 round wedge out of the left rear. The car's a little bit too tight and top it off, get it full of fuel. Dave.
The race leader, Jimmy Johnson, says you need to tighten me up just a little bit more. They will do that with the chassis adjustment and 2 right side tires. Brad Keselowski, 2 tires as well. Vince?
And for Kevin Harvick, just left sides only in fuel. They're going to be about 10 laps short on fuel to the end as well. Jimmy Johnson off pit road first.
There the strategy and the scoring order off the pit lane.
I think they set themselves up for, if it's under green, just fuel probably.
Yeah, that's what you can expect.
A restart and some more frantic racing from the world's fastest speedway coming right up.
6 jobs, 9 cars, 80 summers, and you're done. You could spend your life watching other people with branded helmets and sticker book smiles.
Or you can go out and make some marks of your own. Earn some scars, break records, bones, and hearts. Till you're 80-80 and you're still throwing punches. Or the world leaves you at your grave. You only got one shot.
So bring a rocket launcher. You only live once.
What is it that makes them a team that would deserve to be in the playoff?
Who do you think is the best and who has accomplished the most?
I think the SEC is only going to get one.
The 4 playoff teams right now.
Election committee will determine the top 25.
The committee's going to have their hands
full. It's a task that I do not envy.
I see a lot of good teams. I don't see one elite team.
I think this will add to the regular season.
It's going to be chaos by the time we get to December.
College Football Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show, October 28th at 7:30 on ESPN, presented by Allstate.
What will supporting your nation get you? The celebration of a lifetime. Find out more at NASCARAfterTheLap.com.
Something bad's happened to a few different drivers today here in Talladega. We've got a lot of racing yet to go. Kyle Busch, the one I speak of, involved in an accident that's had him back in the garage area for some time now as they repair heavy damage to the 18 car. And Kyle, third in the championship, starting the race, is 43rd at the moment as we get ready to restart the Geico 500 at Talladega, with a reminder to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. A wave of pit stops has left everybody about 10 laps shy of the finish on fuel. You saw during NASCAR Nonstop, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth and more stay out and wait until the one to go signal to pit. They'll rejoin at the tail end of the field. So it's Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski side by side for the race lead as you look at how they're doubled up here. And we're going to have 53 laps left in this one.
Yeah, and this is the time that things start getting a little more intense as the cars are bunched up. Drivers try to make their way towards the front, so the pushing and the side drafting is going to become a little more intense here, which creates more bad situations.
Joey Logano back on the lead lap after a wave around at the last caution. Didn't catch that for you. Brian Vickers got the free pass at this caution. He's back on the lead lap. And here we go. Jimmy Johnson outside of Brad Keselowski to try and stifle his run. Kevin Harvick took a peek. Johnson holds the lead. Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. 3 wide on the outside.
Junior's problem is he doesn't have a lot of help right at this moment to make that work. He's doing everything that he can to get this car to the front.
Yeah, you can see that nervousness, though, in the draft. You see the 42 moving around. That's as high as he's been all day, up there third, fourth now on that inside lane.
Kyle Busch suited up, headed to his car. Yeah, earlier in the race, it was Truex in the 78 that pushed Dale Jr. up to the front. Truex doesn't seem to have the same strength in his car that he had earlier. And now it's Joey Logano that's going to come up behind the 88. And they'll see if they can make another run. Here's Keselowski looking to the outside of Jimmy Johnson for the race lead.
And I think that right now, you talk about Logano going out there with Junior. I think his motive in that is trying to get to the front to help his teammate, Brad Keselowski, who doesn't seem to need a whole lot of help. He got some nice push there from Paul Menard to get to the front.
Now Danica Patrick slips up out of the pack in front of Dale Jr. Up front, Paul Menard trying to rally that outside line. Jimmy Johnson looking for whoever will take him back past that two for the race lead as Keselowski comes to the line, the new leader of the race.
Brad had ideas of pulling up in front of the 48 there, but that was going to be tight. I don't think Jimmy was going to lift and let him have that for sure.
He's all the way up against the wall. Car width off you.
See Michael Annett in that 7 doing a nice job, but got shuffled right there.
42 is going to push the 4. 48 has no help to your right. 42-4 going to come to you. 48's kind of stuck on an island. 2 back behind him is open. Right side hard, dragging right side. 4 car jumped up in line behind the 48. That'll put the 42 in line behind you. 42, 9, 5 in line behind you. You guys are 2 wide, 6 rows deep.
Joey Meyer, the spotter for Brad Keselowski. How about that?
Yeah, that's a real good information he's giving Brad in such a clear way. It's really, I'm sure, helping him decide what to do.
And you wonder why drivers might have a headache at the end of this day?
The spotters probably do too.
Yeah, for sure.
If you've ever listened to an air traffic controller like at O'Hare or something, cycling planes into the air, or Atlanta, that's what it sounds like. The non-stop cadence.
Yeah, Joey Meyer is a pilot. He's a pilot for Brad Keselowski, so he has that same lingo, that same cadence in the communications with ATC. Kind of what it takes here today to spot for these guys.
So Kyle Larson not really able to stay there and push Keselowski. Kevin Harvick getting behind Jimmy Johnson has cleared the 48 into the lead and the 4 into second. Kurt Busch trying to rally some help on the outside line. Behind Paul Menard, who's racing Keselowski for third. And Dale Jr. trapped behind Michael Annett, sliding further back.
There you go. He's nothing in front of him. Still clear in front of him. Still clear in front of him. In the middle. In the middle, and you're clear high, 3 wide in your mirror. All right, they're checking up in front of you in the middle. You're going to have a run on the outside if you want it. There you go. Perfect. Help's coming with you. Good job, buddy.
Wow, he's getting a big run on the outside there.
Yeah, but how far is he going to get up before he has to get back in line, or before he can get back in line? Kind of stalls out right there.
33 car, Travis Kvapil, the one behind him. Now Martin Truex pulls up in front of him. Aric Almirola's car is back on the track from that big accident before. He's 28 laps down in 40th place. I don't know how this one's going to finish, but I could say pretty confidently it's going to be big. Jimmy Johnson leading. 46 laps to go at the world's fastest speedway in a crucial elimination race.
Sprint
Sprint has done it again. First, there was the Sprint Family Share Pack. A family of 2, 4, or even 10 gets unlimited talk, text, and 20 gigabytes of data to share with the entire family for only $100 a month. That's double the high-speed data of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Double the data. And now check out Sprint's new unlimited plan. Individual lines of unlimited data, talk, and text at just $50 a month per line. Our lowest price ever. $100 a month for the family, $50 a month for individual lines. Sprint, it's the best value in wireless.
In NASCAR, there's nothing a fan, team, or driver wants more than to be first. First on the leaderboard, first out of the pits, first to the checkered flag. In the nation, being first is just as important. At Nationwide, we put members first because we don't have shareholders. It's why the Earnhardt family has trusted Nationwide for more than 35 years.
Nationwide is on your side.
Kevin Harvick wins it at Charlotte. I've never seen the drivers under this much pressure before. The 2-car of Brad Keselowski, the 48 of Johnson, the 88 of Dale Jr., they are certified in trouble.
The contender round.
This is no time to be timid.
The countdown has begun.
If you thought the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup was hot before, it's boiling over now.
It's all or nothing. We're in the heart of the battle here.
4 will be done in Dega.
It's time to prepare for glory or defeat.
Monday Night Football, Texans, Steelers, tomorrow 8:15 on ESPN.
What a sight. The race for the lead at Talladega. 33 deep from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Jimmy Johnson, 48, with Kevin Harvick, 4. Behind him, Kurt Busch, 41, trying to pull up the middle lane, and Paul Menard, 27, trying to lead the outside line. Brad Keselowski in the middle now, getting shuffled back off, contending for the lead a little bit. In the 2, he's behind Kurt Busch. Probably not in a very comfortable spot. There's Casey Kane beginning to roll back to the front now in the 5 to the inside of Keselowski. Marcos Ambrose. Truex with a run in the outside lane. 78.
Paul Menard just inching closer and closer up to the lead.
Really fast car that Paul Menard has. He could be a factor in who wins this, maybe himself.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Johnson noticed it too there. Had to pull up and block that momentum he had.
But as he did that, he opened the inside.
Kevin Harvick looking low. Johnson led that lap at the stripe. Harvick with Kyle Larson behind him in the draft in the 42.
And sometimes there's just too much going on around you to keep up with all of it. And again, it's trying to anticipate that momentum that car coming at you has. How much does that have? Are you going to be able to do that right?
Sorry, DJ, when I see something happen from that overhead shot like I just saw with the pack tightening together all at once, that's when I hold my breath. That's when I wonder if the next word out of my mouth is going to be trouble.
Yeah, and all it takes is that little bit of having to get out of the throttle or somebody not getting out of the throttle as somebody slides up in front of them. And it's just that slight contact. That was impressive there by Jimmy Johnson to get his car back in front. He used a little push from Paul Menard to get back in front of Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, Jimmy's doing an excellent job. He's got a really good car today. I think it's a little better than Junior's. He's had a lot of trouble trying to get back to the front.
He's not far from wrapping up the most laps led and getting that bonus point. Don't know that that's going to benefit him today. Obviously, the win would benefit him much more.
Looks like they've got that 18 car down on the ground, Jamie.
Well, they did have it fired up, a very focused Kyle Busch behind the wheel, and now they just shut it off. So I asked the team what's going on. They said they wanted to warm up the engine, make sure everything is fine there. They're also working on the toe. The toe is knocked out. So more changes, more fixes. Right now, though, everybody's looking at the board. He's 4 points to the good in 8th place, and they're keeping Kyle updated.
Yeah, Jamie, that's provided none of these other guys like Jimmy Johnson or Brad Keselowski wins this race. If that's the case, then he's 4 points to the bad.
We can see just how close that was there. Jimmy Johnson pulling up in front of Paul Menard. Late in the race, he's might not get that spot.
Going back to the 18, he can't, if something happens now in this group, he can't beat any of these cars that are on the lead lap, even if they crash out now, if he finishes all the rest of the laps from here. So all he can do is try to gain a couple of the spots on the cars that have had trouble.
And there are 3 others that are out of the race that Kyle Busch could pass by getting on the track and finishing laps. 4 others, actually. That was Jamie McMurray, the leaders just overtook, who was slow on the apron of the track, who's had his problems ever since a lap 60 crash when he cut a left side tire and spun off of turn number 4. Tony Stewart just ahead of the leaders.
Yeah, this is the type of situation that makes me nervous too as they come up on a slower car when they're 3 wide. Everybody back through there, even though they're getting some information, they can't see exactly where that car is. And there's obviously trying to get 4 wide makes it very difficult.
Tony Stewart giving us a good look at the lead from his bumper cam. Coming on him pretty fast.
Lifts and drops down onto the apron.
Yeah, that's a good move by Smoke there. It gives everybody room. He's been in that situation before and understands just the difficulty of that.
So Jimmy Johnson just clinched the bonus point for most laps led in this race. Could be crucial. Kyle Busch's car back out of the garage. There you see 48 minutes of repair time. Still looks like it's kind of crab walking a little bit.
Well, believe it or not, it's in the right direction for lower drag, so it might help him actually.
So now he's got to get out, meet the minimum speed, and just finish all the laps. Pass the cars that are already out of the race, the ones involved in the accident with him, and then see if any more fall victim in the final 37 laps that he can overtake and salvage his advancement in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. That's a lot to unfold in these last 36 laps.
It's the same old situation.
Inconceivable!
I'm the king of the world!
Thank you. Very little. I'll have what she's having.
Houston, we have a problem.
You talking to me?
Earmuffs! Show me the mini! Say hello to my little friend.
Pepsi mini cans. Little can. Epic satisfaction.
Before earning enough cash back from Bank of America to help entertain some friends at the beach. Before earning 1% cash back everywhere, every time. And 2% back at the grocery store. Even before he got 3% back on gas. All with no hoops to jump through. Raphael was inspired to use his Bank Americard Cash Rewards credit card to spend a night watching the stars under the stars. That's the beauty of rewarding connections. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
You owned your car for 4 years. You named it Brad. You loved Brad. And then you totaled him. You two had been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs. You're like, nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls. And you break into your happy dance.
If you sign up for Better Car Replacement, we'll pay for a car that's a model year newer with 15,000 fewer miles than your old one. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
A year of excitement. Action. And glory. All leads leads to this. The celebration of a lifetime. Join your nation in Las Vegas, December 2nd through 5th.
I think we see Willis coming out.
The place erupted.
It was a big moment for all of us.
The Knicks were a great rock band.
It was the most provocative arena in the NBA.
They didn't play as individuals, they played as a team.
It was a remarkable time in New York.
What if I told you the Garden was a party? ESPN Films presents a 30 for 30 film brought to you by Infinity, When the Garden Was Eden, Tuesday at 9 on ESPN.
Look at that pack racing for the lead in the Geico 500, coming to 32 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson racing Martin Truex Jr. for the #1 spot, and they're 3 deep behind them, about 7 rows. How about 4 wide?
Martin Truex in that 78 has not led a lap all season long. He's going to try to get this right here. If he can get past Jimmy Johnson, he'll lead his first lap of the year.
I saw his best opportunity there was to fall in behind the 48. It's a good spot to be in right now.
And he did not lead that last lap, by the way. That was Jimmy. Greg Biffle, 16. One in the middle of the first 3 wide there, starting to roll toward the front. Biffle, one of the factors for the win here back in the May race. Back on May 4th.
Been a place that he hasn't had a lot of luck at over the years, but certainly has been in the mix a lot. Keep seeing some give and take right now. Winding down to 30 to go.
There's a lot of racing.
Yeah, those holes are going to close up quicker, though.
They're going to have to pit again for fuel. About 10 to 15 laps to go. They all want to be as close to the front as they can to make that stop, to make sure if they have a little glitch, they don't lose the draft. And frankly, just to try to stay as far in this line as they can.
Well, Junior had a little bit of a bobble there up off turn 4. Now has a little bit of a run. And all of this action at NASCAR's biggest and fastest track today. We go to the shortest track on the circuit, but it doesn't lack for action either. Martinsville and some bullring racing to open the Eliminator round of the chase next Sunday. Presented by AutoZone, ESPN, 1 Eastern time. There'll be some fenders bent and some tempers boiling at the end of that one next Sunday in South Central Virginia. Brad Keselowski, like Dale Jr., trying to find moves to make to get back to the front to have a shot to win this one.
He's just trying to figure out where he can get that little bit of a pull that gets him going forward and he can get that push from behind where he can pick up these spots. He knows he needs to be up there in that top 2 or 3 to have any chance here. Of course, as you pointed out, Andy, they still have to make a pit stop, but you still want to position yourself there.
And still, Gordon, Newman, Hamlin, Kenseth, Edwards all hanging out from 27th to 33rd spots. One of these race cars is about, what, 16 feet long? How do you know that hole is not 14 feet versus 17 feet when you're making that move like that on Jimmy Johnson's part?
Yeah, you don't completely. That's the chance, and that's the expertise of these guys in knowing that, and that's what creates accidents is whenever people do have a misjudgment in that.
"33 cars on the lead lap. All of them within 4 seconds of the race leader. 27 lead changes through the course of the race. 16 different drivers have led. Jimmy Johnson has led the most laps. Dale Jr. has led the second most.
Joey Logano, we saw him plowing up the grass on the front straightaway earlier. He's up here in the mix, running 10th or 11th, just depending on when you decide to look.
Yep. Lost a lap, got it back. Trying to find a way to get to the 2 and see if he can be the one to push Brad Keselowski to the win.
He's not far from him right now.
Look away, Jimmy Johnson fans. Look away. You'll continue to see all the frantic action in NASCAR nonstop, presented by Goodyear.
Hey, searching for a great used car? You got it. Just say, show me millions of used cars for sale at the all-new Carfax.com, where now you can search with the power of Carfax. Just say, show me cars with no accidents reported. Boom. Or how about, show me cars with only one owner? Pretty cool. Plus, we're the only site where you get a free Carfax report with every car listed. So find the cars you want, avoid the ones you don't. Start your used car search at Carfax.com.
Oh, steer clear of Kristen. She can't control herself around chocolate. She'll devour you.
Really?
Yeah, thanks for introducing us.
Anything for a friend.
Ooh, strong grip. Ow!
The Beam family has a long history of doing things their own way. In fact, they age every drop of Jim Beam twice as long as the law requires for a true Kentucky straight bourbon. So, 4 long years from now, I'll be back for this one. That's how Jim Beam makes history. How will you make yours?
Love drama? Go on a first date.
My passion is puppetry. Here?
I think we're done here.
Hate drama? Go to Cars.com. Research, price, find. Only Cars.com helps you get the right car without all the drama.
Hey, Ken, what do you want these?
Yeah, just throw them back there.
Okay. Wow, what are all those?
Peabody, Riders Guild, Amy.
Dude, you've been here like a week.
Has it been that long?
The contender round.
This is no time to be timid.
4 will be done in Dega.
It's time to prepare for glory or defeat.
Do 15% or more on car insurance. And Chevrolet, find new roads.
Jimmy Johnson finding ways to hold on to the lead here at Talladega Superspeedway in the final 23 laps of the Geico 500. Brad Keselowski trying to find a way around him for the top spot, and Danica Patrick leading a rally in the outside lane. They're 4 wide to turn 3. Dale Jr. was up there racing for the lead. The way those fans just jumped to their feet.
That's certainly the second biggest roar that we've heard all day.
Without question. That side drafting thing. Talk to me about what you're trying to do there as a driver. You're Jimmy Johnson and you're moving over.
Yeah, you're moving over to get against that car. What it does is the air there will put drag on that car and literally try to pull it back. You're hoping that what it does then, it sucks somebody to your rear bumper and you can get a push. Danica played that perfectly though. Tried to get away from it just a little, didn't allow Jimmy to put that full force there.
Yeah, but I think she used it to get to that position, too. She used it pretty effectively to get to that right side door, even to the 48, to take the lead. I think she's doing a really good job of it.
21 laps to go. New leader, Danica Patrick. Jimmy Johnson looking for a way back around.
What you have to do here as the leader is not give them too much of either side of you. If you give them too much on the bottom, then they'll make that run there. If you give them too much to the outside, wow, they're scattering right here.
Travis Quapple in that black 33 with pink numbers leading that inside group. Looks like everybody had to check up in the middle there somewhere. But they all got away with it. Kevin Harvick, the big loser in that exchange. Austin Dillon now through to 6th place in the 3 car, bandaged up after he was involved in the contact with Kyle Busch that sent the 18 car to the inside wall back at lap number 103.
You can see the left rear quarter panel of that car. It's got some damage. Looks like it's almost acting like a parachute, that it might be hurting him. Not keeping him from going towards the front. A lot of bandage on that car. A lot of tape.
Joey Logano has gotten to Brad Keselowski. See if the Penske teammates can make something happen in the draft.
Well, Keselowski was a big loser, too. When Danica took the lead, he had made a big move to try to get the lead from Jimmy Johnson, and that's when they went 3 and 4 wide.
Yeah, he was the one that kind of had to jump out of the gas for a minute, but he's got his partner there with him now.
That was Quapple you saw pull on a line off turn 4 and head to pit road for a green flag stop. We will see that for all of these drivers sometime in the next 5 to 7 laps.
That could get kind of dicey here, too. We have seen in the past accidents happen as these drivers try to get to pit road.
Pit stop coming up too. They've got to get on pit road as quick as they can and get off, and then they have to keep from sliding those tires, because most of them, I'm sure, are only going to take about a half a can of fuel. Not going to be there very long.
And don't speed. It's going to be very difficult. You want to get there and you want to get off, but don't get caught speeding.
You're Danica Patrick. You just passed the 6-time champion for the lead.
Feeling good. Hey, she's doing a fantastic job. She's run, I've seen her run at the back, run in the middle, but when it came time here to run, she made some good moves as I watched her work her way up there, using the side draft and using the draft of other cars to get herself in that position. So, yeah, she should feel good right now, what she's doing.
That's Clint Boyer trying to make some noise in the outside lane. Clint's been one of the crowd hanging around at the back.
Yep, he knows how to win here.
Clint been sporting his Kansas City Royals cap all weekend long, cheering the home state team on as they go to the World Series starting Tuesday night at the K.
Seeing it now. These pushes are a little bit harder. These bumps are a little bit harder. You can see the side drafting starting to get a little bit closer.
When will the moves to pit road be made?
Hey, just if he locks up right front or left front or something like that, you're going to need to tell me, because I'm not planning on taking tires. You got it.
Chad Knaus talking to Earl Barban, the spotter.
Yeah, that's just what I was talking about. They're going to really be pushing this. They're going to try to do everything they can, but they cannot slide one of those front tires. And usually it's the right front that gets the flat spot. And he's relying on that spotter to tell him, hey, we've got a flat spotted right front. We'll have to change too.
Looks like Ambrose is coming to pit road this time. You can see his hand out the window waving to let him know behind so he doesn't get hit as he tries to get down and slow down a little bit. See if anybody else coming with him.
That's where it could get dicey here in the braking zone.
It looked like all the Fords decided to come together.
Ambrose, Keselowski, Biffle, Logano, Blaney. Doc?
It'll be 2 tires for Logano, 2 tires in 3.5 seconds of fuel. They may put a little more fuel in it, trying to get the right side tires on, and he is away.
So what looked like a well-orchestrated plan by some of the Ford teams to stop together, try and form a draft, and get back out.
I think if they could do this early and get themselves, since they were all up towards the front of the pack, then they may be able to break away a little bit, or at least be in front of this group after they pit.
Next lap, here comes the leader. Oh, Kevin Harvick with some contact at the back of the pack, spun around.
After this 43, you're clear. Just go ahead and donut around.
Dave?
Talking fuel only for Jimmy Johnson, but he will get a chassis adjustment. The car was too loose.
Me as well. Fuel only for Danica.
So those cars come up to speed. The Fords charge at them to blend, and here come the other leaders. Got one spinning on the apron of 1 and 2 coming off the pit lane, trying to get up to speed. Caution is out. Caution is out. Kyle Larson spun coming off the pit lane, and the yellow flag is out before all the green flag pit stops have been finished. So yellow with 13 laps to go. And watch Larson here as he's a part of this group.
Now, 1 red. Stand outside, you're all right, you're all right. Pull the door out, he just got hit right there above in front of the right rear. In front of the right rear.
A lot going on during that cycle.
Here you go, come around, 5.
It looked like the 7 of Michael Annett got into the back of Kevin Harvick as they had to check up there.
Yeah, one thing that happened right there is Danica slowed everybody down. She checked up just a little bit more than I think they were expecting as they hit pit road, and it jammed everybody up.
And now this is going back off the pit lane on the apron of the track.
Yeah, he's down on the real flat of the track there. He had someone to his outside and couldn't get out there where there's a little bit of banking.
Right,
and that is the dirtiest part down there, too.
Yellow's out.
So the only one of the lead lap cars that didn't pit is Jeff Gordon. In a normal oval track race, you'd say, boy, that's a disaster. But he's been running around at the back, and that's where he's going to end up for this restart anyway, though on the lead lap.
Yeah, not what we needed. I was afraid you're going to say that.
I tell you, that was a big break for like Ryan Newman and a couple of cars that were on pit road when the caution came out. Field slowed down, so they were able to get positions on them.
Yeah, got a lot of track position.
Yes, a lot of track position.
Jeff Gordon is going to pit here from the lead, and then he'll end up back somewhere around 30th place by rejoining at the end of the field. And again, that's where he's been running anyway.
Still not a disaster. They weren't going to come till inside 10 laps to go to start making their way forward, so I don't see any problem with them. Here, by doing this, they'll be able to put tires on this, get plenty of fuel in case there's a green-white checker, which is a good chance of.
So yellow out for the 4th time in the race here at Talladega.
Yeah, the group of cars is Cole Witt, David Gillen, Ryan Newman, Trevor Bain, Landon Castle, and David Reagan that were on pit road when the caution came out. That was just a big break for them. It's going to put them right in front of Danica Patrick, who was the leader and the leader of that group coming off of pit road.
So pit road open here, and it will be a lonely sight. Austin Dillon's going to get a speeding penalty for his green flag pit stop. And Jamie, here comes Jeff Gordon.
And Alan Gustafson said, we're going to take right sides only, but let's see how many cars come. We might have plenty of time, so listen and be heads up, guys. They decided it is going to be 4 fresh tires here. They'll fill them up with just enough fuel for as long as it takes to put tires on, and Jeff Gordon is down and away.
When things cycle out here, Ryan Newman's going to be the leader of this race for this restart because of what you talked about a minute ago. And it's going to be a really interesting 9 or 8 lap scramble to the finish. Vince?
It's been an eventful day for Denny Hamlin. They had to fix a little right front damage on the previous pit stop. Coming in, going to make a 4-tire change for Denny. Remember, he's one of those still trying to make his way into the next round of the chase. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for Denny.
All right. How's it going to turn out? That's what we're all here to see, isn't it?
That's right. That's it.
Who transfers in, who's eliminated, and who wins at Talladega? As you see, doubled up for the restart in the Geico 500 with Ryan Newman, now the leader of this race, and we're going to go at it with 9 laps left in the scheduled distance. How many of these positions in that right-hand column will change in these final 9 or so laps?
Position's going to change. I don't know about all of that and what's going to transpire with that, but there's a lot of positions getting ready to change on the track.
Yeah. And of course, the biggest one, who wins, and how does that change the number of those spots available in that bubble? Looking down on beautiful Talladega from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
Joey said he's glued to you like a tattoo, but I'll spot for him as well as you like we were doing earlier, just so you know. Just keep me posted on gaps in front of me, too, so I can push.
So Brad Keselowski back 16th in line for the restart with Joey Logano 18th behind him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 13th. Jimmy Johnson is 6th. And Ryan Newman ended up with the race lead by where the caution fell as he was making his green flag pit stop.
Yeah, he was on pit road with those other cars, and what happened was when the caution comes out, everybody slows down, and then they don't have to really build their speed back up and blend back in. They freeze their position as they come off pit road, so it was a big break for them.
So there you look at the restart order. There are 32 cars on the lead lap. Kevin Harvick got the free pass to get back on the lead lap after losing one in his pit road spin. And here we go.
Remember, Ryan Newman lost the draft at one point in this race, now leading at the end. Dale Jr. on the inside trying to make a big move.
He's got to make something happen.
Yeah, winning's the only thing right now that's going to matter to him, along with Jimmy Johnson. Watch Matt Kenseth there in the middle. He's one of the masters at this plate racing. You get hit that hard, though, it's out of your hands.
Newman trying to figure out which lane to block. Jimmy Johnson with a run to the outside.
Better block that 48.
Brad Keselowski with him. Joey Logano tucked in the draft also. David Reagan low, 34. Landon Castle, middle lane, 40. Jeff Gordon trying to make moves. He's up to 16th place. Carl Edwards still riding around in 30th. Denny Hamlin 27th.
4 wide. Newman doesn't have to win this race to advance. He just needs to stay out of trouble here, but his best shot of doing that is up here towards the front.
Yeah, but he wants to win. He really would like to get a win. It's been a great time to do it.
And if he gets shuffled out, it might not just be 1 or 2 spots he loses. Jimmy Johnson leads that lap.
Whoa. Uh-oh. I think that was Clint Boyer forcing his way in there, wasn't it?
Keselowski looks to shoot the middle. Remember Chicagoland.
But in making that move, he got away from the 22, but that's where he had to go to get to the front.
Gets down on the inside line behind Newman. Hoping he can shuffle Jimmy Johnson back and have a shot at racing Newman for the win. Here comes Keselowski looking low.
Keselowski knew he had to block Jimmy Johnson there. That's who he has to keep from winning this race, to have his shot at it.
5 to go.
Boyer to the inside.
Whoa. Trevor Bayne getting knocked around a little bit. Hangs on to it.
4 wide.
Wow, Jimmy Johnson makes some aggressive moves in the crowd.
There comes Logano to help the 2 car now.
Caution for debris.
Caution flag out.
Caution for debris.
And we're not done yet.
Wow.
One of NASCAR's spotters in the corner has reported a piece of debris on that yellow line in one of the corners. Apologize for not being able to pick up all of the radio transmission. There's a little going on there.
Wow. Awesome.
So yellow flag number 5. And I'd say everyone gets to catch their breath, but what they really get to do is regroup and try to figure out what went wrong and how to make it go right.
Now NASCAR is going to have to sort out in what position everybody was when that caution was thrown, because they were 3 and 4 wide there.
And so remember that and there's something on Joey Logano's car. That might be what they were looking for. That's a piece of metal.
Yeah, that's not good for Logano.
See if you can sock a little piece of debris off the grill there.
See if he can run up on the back of his teammate and knock that off.
So remember that the way that the timing and scoring system works, and now who picks it up, that thrown down to the apron. At the moment the caution is called, David Hoots, the race director and the managing event director for NASCAR in the tower, presses that button that triggers the computer system, and under a yellow that's not after the white flag, the moment that each car crossed the last scoring loop on the racetrack is the one that determines their running position. That running position already being called out on the race control radio to the spotters so they know how to align their drivers. Of course, on the last lap after the white flag waves, they go back to video replays and so on to determine where everybody was at the instant the caution was called, which might just come into play yet. Desperate times for 3 drivers that just need to win this race to stay in the championship. Brad Keselowski, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and this one, Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy, that 22 was said on the radio multiple times. He is not going to help you. We'll do what we can here until next one. Not a lot of help up here for us, man. You're just going to have to do your best. You're doing an awesome job, man. I'm really proud of you.
Check downstairs in the Quicken Loans CSPN pit studio. Nicole?
I was just checking my heart rate a little bit down here. Wow. I have no idea what to expect in the end. I think it's really interesting the position that Jimmie Johnson is in right now, having absolutely no help. When he looks in his rearview mirror, absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it really is. You see Jimmie Johnson taking it to a new level, and so is Brad Keselowski. They're driving harder than I've ever seen them drive in my life. I got to tell you, the guy that was really making me a little nervous is Landon Castle up there to mix. He was running really good. Kind of got them all boxed up a little bit.
Yeah, he and Trevor Bayne as well, but Ryan Newman, he is not going to give up. He's scratching and clawing, trying to figure out which lane to take. I was really impressed at how he held those guys off by himself, so to speak.
And how hard is he to pass?
Harder to pass than a kidney stone.
That's what I thought. What do you do? What do you do on this last restart?
You just got to block. You got to block. And the guy that's in the best condition right now really is Brad Keselowski, because he's got his teammate Joey Logano behind him. Those are really fast Fords. And Keselowski's got to be loving the position he's in right now, looking at his rearview mirror, knowing his teammates right there with him, going to help him. We've heard before, Logano says, I'm not moving off your bumper. So, look, the restart coming to the start-finish line and exit turn 2, to me, is so important to get in line. We'll see what happens.
It's just an interesting mix because Martin Truex Jr. just led his first lap of the year. He's up there in 5th. Obviously hasn't won a race. Clint Boyer has not won a race. Kurt Busch hasn't won a race since Martinsville earlier this year. And Trevor Bayne, he's not won.
Yeah.
So they're fighting to get to victory lane while the others are fighting to advance in the chase.
Yeah, all bets are off. Right now you're trying to get to that checkered flag first. We saw Clint Boyer be very, very aggressive. Truex Jr. has had a tough year. This would be a great win for that team, that organization. And Ryan Newman, same thing. Great win. Need one. Haven't had one this year.
My pulse has settled down.
Let's
just
get it on.
Time to go back up again, Alan.
Yeah. At the very least, Nicole, it's going to be a rather spellbinding couple of laps. We are set for a green-white checker finish. The one-to-go signal being given here. And we will go a lap over the scheduled distance. So this is the first attempt at a green-white checker. Let's check down on pit road, Dave.
Paul Wolf watching over Brad Keselowski's activities today. What's he got ahead of him here on these final laps, Paul?
Well, he's done a great job all day, and the whole team has all weekend on this Reds Ford. And all we can do is ask for a shot coming down to the end, and we're in position right now. So it's just all about who helps who and what lines go. So we know he's really good at this, and we're happy to have him behind the wheel.
Remember, he's got one teammate out there that can help him for sure.
Ryan Newman made a good decision by taking the bottom on this restart as the leader, because if he hadn't done that, he would have had the two teammates lined up on the inside. It's a good way to split them up.
And there you see, the last 4 times we've had a green-white checker finish here at Talladega, the leader at the scheduled distance was not the winner that took home the trophy. Vince?
With Luke Lambert, he's the crew chief for Ryan Newman, and there was some discussion as to which lane Ryan was going to take for this restart. How'd you decide on the bottom?
Yeah, I think that it's a little bit safer. You can control your destiny a little bit on the bottom. It's the shortest distance to get there, and it puts you right on the line. I think it helps the best.
How concerned are you about who you might or might not have to work with on this final restart?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the 22 is behind us, so he's not going to necessarily want to push us by the 2, but we'll see how it plays out.
Thanks, Luke. Alan?
All right, Vince, thanks. So you've heard from Keselowski's team. Dale Jr.'s all the way back in 16th for the restart, and there's Jimmie Johnson in 4th.
That are probably solid and don't need to do anything stupid are going to be the 5, the 99, the 11, the 20. Those guys aren't going to do us any good, I would imagine. 78, 15, 41, 21. Those guys are going to be aggressive. 78, 15, 41, 21.
DJ, Andy, you've been making all those racer hand signals to each other up here. What are you seeing?
I think it's just a matter. It's the 22 and the 2. Are they able to get together quickly? And does Jimmie Johnson get any help here? Ryan Newman, he really can't take too many chances. As bad as he wants to win this, he just needs to finish with no trouble.
Green-white checker attempt number 1. Could be up to 3 attempts at it, but if the leader gets back to the white flag, the next flag ends the race, be it caution or checkered. Here we go.
Sure if the 21 of Trevor Bayne pulled out of line too quickly there. We'll see.
Jimmie Johnson being shuffled on the outside. Talk about no help.
Yeah, he's going to need another green-white checker to have any chance of where he's at now.
But Casey Kane gets to his back bumper there.
Might be too far back, though.
Oh, trouble.
Junior's in that.
David Gilliland, Michael Annette, Paul Menard, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Okay, bring it to us then. Get tires on it, guys, and fenders clearance.
So caution out, half a lap into the green-white checker. Mentioned Dale Earnhardt Jr. restarting back in 16th place, and it went wrong for him before he got to turn 3.
Not bad, Stevie, not bad.
Well, let's see if we can see what happened on the backstretch that led to all this.
Yeah, this is Greg Biffle right here. You see just inside Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking to try, like he was going to try to make it 4 wide and clips the left rear. That's what set it off.
Just looking to see Carl Edwards and Jeff Gordon there. And the mere fact that Junior's car turned back the other way and spun to the outside was what kept them from being collected in it.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if the 38 got into the back of the 16 there, because you saw Biffle's car really veer to the right.
Two inside. Your lane's rolling good. Your lane's rolling good. Keep coming there. Alright. Keep coming there. One more car coming, buddy. Hold it right there. Hope we don't get you here. You're good.
And you can see from that angle that the 38 did get into the back of the 16, and as he was trying to change lanes a little bit, his car was already pointed that way and sent him over into the 88.
How did Carl Edwards get through that? Look at that.
Wow.
Kyle Larson.
Right two, wrecking in front of you. Check up, check up, check up. Keep digging, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Still wrecking. Yellow's up, next job.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. knew that he needed to most likely win this race to have a shot to advance and continue on in his championship hopes. And now he's been put in an almost impossible situation because he's going to be at the end of the line with a damaged race car and just 2 laps left. Jimmy Johnson.
You said?
Well, we're going to run out if we go green in 3 laps at the start-finish line, so you make the call.
Yeah, they'd kind of timed it out on that green flag stop to get on and off pit road as quick as they could. They only took a measured amount of fuel. They weren't really counting on the extra distance.
And Jimmy shuffled back to 15th in all the knocking around on the restart there. And if he pits, and a lot of others don't, which they probably won't, that'll shuffle them all the way back to about 30th.
Yeah, and that takes him out, just completely out of it.
You can see up on top of our screen there as things and drivers and others positions have changed a lot. Kyle Busch, even with his wrecked race car, has the possibility of staying inside that top 8.
Yeah, Casey Kane sitting in 16th. If he can pass one car, it'll put him ahead of him. not much Kyle Busch can do about that. He just has to watch, see how it plays out.
Yeah.
He'll have a good seat for it. That pretty well sealed the fate for Dale Earnhardt Jr. though. He won't make it past this round.
And when he visited with us before the start of the race today, he talked about how aggressive he needed to be and how at ease he was with what it had come down to because of the way things had gone wrong for him for the last couple of weeks. And boy, he sure was aggressive early in this race and driving the wheels off that thing to try and stay up front and contend for the win. It just looked like somewhere in the middle of the race, the performance of the car fell off a little bit where he couldn't stay up front.
Yeah, what we'd heard through some radio transmissions that it was loose and loose in, and I think that's why we couldn't see him make the way up to the front like he did early in the race. This car was just a little too free. Can't be aggressive, even though you don't have to get out of the throttle. You can't be aggressive with the car in these drafts and in all of these 3 and 4 wide situations to make that extra little move you need to make.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to take it and turn it straight left to get to a point of where you're going to get some help. And if that car's loose, you can't do that. There's just nothing you can do or you're going to crash.
So they clean up all the debris, and then we'll line them up and go again for the second attempt at the green-white checker finish. Pushing Paul Menard's car to the garage, working on Dale Jr. still, and this sure can't make Rick Hendrick happy looking on, Vince.
Rick, certainly frustrating for Junior, but others in the mix as well with Jimmy and Casey still there, Jeff as well. But maybe initial thoughts on what happened with Junior there.
It's just Talladega. It's we've been up front all day, and I don't know where we're going to end up. This is going to be a crazy finish. You just can't avoid it down here when you're running that close together. It's just what you have to get used to. You've been through it to move on. It's not easy.
You've been through a lot of Talladegas. How do you handle it when it's down the stretch in the final laps and you've got multiple cars trying to make it to the next round?
Well, you just got to do the best you can. The 48's led the most laps today. Junior's been good. The 5 was up there in the top 5, and I just hope Jeff can make it through. We'll see. It's going to be a wild finish.
Nerve-wracking time for Rick Hendrick.
All right, Vince, thanks. So I just want you to go and look again. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, down on this inside line, all the cars with the yellow roof banners. And watch how close this came when Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car started to come into the pack. And when it got turned back around to the right, you've got Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, and how close it came to becoming a disaster for them.
Yeah, if he doesn't hit that car, he's going to spin down in there. And then who knows what would have happened with the chase moving forward from today.
And somehow, as Menard came back across the track, Edwards missed him too.
Yeah, he did a great job avoiding all that. You've hung out back there all day and done everything you're supposed to do, and then it all happens right in front of you. Carl Edwards, great job.
So they're doubled up for the restart. This time Brad Keselowski was the control car as being in front of Ryan Newman for the restart, so that changes a critical element here.
Yeah, the teammates get to be there right there together.
So chooses the outside lane. There are still 32 cars on the lead lap. And again, we'll go with 2 laps to go. A second attempt at a green-white checker finish. If they get back to the white flag, then the next flag ends it, be it caution or checkered.
And Logano's going to do everything that he can to push that 2 car on the start to get him out front and then let him handle wherever he wants to go from that point.
Jimmy Johnson trying to save fuel down on the apron of the track.
He needs to be wiggling that car back and forth trying to get some fuel to the right rear corner.
So Johnson needs to win. He's back in 9th place for the restart. Keselowski needs to win, though might squeak in on points. Might. Not likely, though. He probably just needs to win the race to be sure. And Kyle Busch's fate hangs on how many positions change hands here in these last 2 laps. He might sneak in. He might be left out. We're about to find out.
Like Logano timed that pretty perfectly to be right on the bumper of the 2.
Oh, trouble, Trevor Bayne.
He's going to save it.
Looked like maybe off the nose of Jimmy Johnson. We stay under green. But for how long? Keselowski's clear of Newman. Now Kevin Harvick makes a run to the outside lane. Matt Kenseth was pushing him. Logano to block.
That's left his teammate out there all alone, though.
To the white flag. Ryan Newman to the outside of Keselowski. Newman leads at that line. Who leads at the next one?
But you got to get back to the front because a caution could happen and you could be out of luck. Keselowski really doesn't have the help that he's going to need to win this race.
And he must win it.
But he's in good shape now because Newman has no push.
Here comes Landon Castle behind Matt Kenseth, behind Brad Keselowski.
But watch Kenseth, he can still make a move.
Landon Castle to the outside, tri-oval, sprint to the checkered flag. Who wins? Brad Keselowski wins it at Talladega.
Place called Victory Lane.
When you absolutely positively have to win a race and you get it done, that has to feel unbelievably good.
I tell you, I've said it a number of times. You back these drivers into corners, it's amazing to see the extraordinary things that they can do. And Brad Keselowski was not going to be denied today.
Yeah, this might be one of his biggest wins ever.
You know, I don't cry over a lot of things. This is the most I'm ever going to get.
Yep. This is big. I mean, you saw Casey Kane do this at Atlanta. Had to win to make the chase, the initial round of the chase, and he did it. And it was very emotional for him. This is big.
That was quite a drive that Keselowski did. They were 3 wide behind him. How do you choose? Which one do you choose? Who's coming the fastest that you need to block?
He blocked them all.
Yes, he did. I really thought he was out of luck on the back straightaway because he didn't have the car there that he really needed to push him.
Now, what NASCAR is doing is checking the photo finish camera, confirming finishing positions, and therefore the points to double check who's eliminated and who advances. It's very close at the bubble. Brad Keselowski winning ensures he moves on. And we could pretty well confirm that both Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be eliminated by not winning in this one. The spoiler angle check down at the entrance to pit road where all the cars have to go.
So we are looking right now at the points tally as we speak. The ones that we do know, of course, that are going.
And you talk about some desperate racing for the lead.
Right now in third, Denny Hamlin in fourth. Carl Edwards in fifth. We'll get the rest of the rundown now. Look, in just a moment.
You see the damage on that right side where he was involved in that early race accident. Extremely lucky not to get any more.
Yeah, almost taken out right at that point in time. A hard hit into his door.
Our Goodyear Superior performer. And why not?
Absolutely.
Doesn't get any more superior than that, for sure.
So I started to talk about the desperate racing for the lead. on that last green-white checker. Watch the moves that Keselowski made to try and get around and keep Ryan Newman behind him.
Yeah, Newman made a great run down the front straightaway through the tri-oval to get the lead back there. Keselowski was clear for just a minute, but Newman had a run. Whoa.
Then Matt Kenseth got behind the two, but Kenseth got a little upset at the back end of his car when Landon Castle in that 40 pushed him a little hard coming through the tri-oval, and Matt couldn't make a break to try and steal the win away.
And after last week, you know that Matt would have loved to have got to the bumper of that 2 car, but he just couldn't quite get there.
Yeah. Watch the back end of the 20 here, the white car. See, just a little upset.
But isn't it ironic that Matt Kenseth pushes Brad Keselowski to the win?
Landon Castle right in the mix. I mean, an opportunity for him to win this race. What a great job he did. Travis Quaffle up in there.
Well, disappointment for Dale Earnhardt Jr., Doc.
He climbs out of the car, finishes 31st. He finishes 31st here today, and getting out talking to Stevie Letarte and talking about what happened on the racetrack. Junior, looked like you had a really good car, led some laps. What happened on that restart where you got turned?
I don't know. I'd like to see a replay of it. We just running along there behind the 5, and I don't think I changed lanes or anything. I was following him on the outside and just got hooked in the quarter panel. We had a real good car with us today. We got real loose on one run, kind of shuffled out.
I'm going to show you what happened here on the restart.
I guess the 16 moved up into us or something there. I thought I was sort of going straight. I don't know if we were 4 wide or whatever there, but hard for the spotter to help me back there if is there anything else I could have done. But we was just sitting there running straight there, and it's just hard racing. That's the way it goes at the end of these races. We weren't in a good position there in the back. Yeah, looks like he guys kind of hooked me a little bit. Maybe I came down, I don't know.
It looked like you had a good car. You were trying to draft up there with a 27, but the car didn't seem like it wanted to suck up. Was there an issue with the car?
I ain't real sure, really. We had some red gauges there. Different things, doing some different stuff at the last probably 60 laps of the race. Some gauges weren't really reading really good, but I don't know if that was costing us any power. But we had a good car when we could lead, we could get up front. It's just so hard to. Once you get shuffled to the back, try to make some moves, just couldn't really get anything put together to get back up there.
You began the year with the Daytona 500 win, had a great year. You were talking about what a good year you guys were having, but you don't move on in the chase after today. Your thoughts?
Well, we'll just go try to win some more races for years out. That's all we got left.
All right, Dale Earnhardt Jr., you can see that the emotion, the disappointment, and obviously a little bit confused as to what might have happened with the car. Vince?
Disappointment down in his teammates' stall as well in the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. You led the most laps today. Looked as though you had a good car, but ultimately, what was the difference at the end?
Yeah, at the end, I guess next to last restart, assuming it would be the last restart, I was lined up in 4th, and I really felt like I played things out in my mind, and if I pushed the 2 to the lead there wasn't enough time to get back by him, so I thought my best opportunity was to get to his outside and hope that fellow Hendrick car, the 41, would kind of fall in behind me, and I could toe the lane and get around the 2 and have the outside lane and hopefully run down the 31. I made my move. I got to his outside, and I looked in the mirror, and I had no friends. So it's how plate racing goes. If I knew there was a second green-white checkered, I probably would have stayed in line, but you just don't know how those things are going to develop. So, today I really wanted to enter today's race, feeling like I was playing with house money. I was given an opportunity today to get back in the championship battle after 2 bad races. We tried our best. They gave me a great low Chevrolet today, and unfortunately we just didn't get it done. So played with house money and lost.
So much success over the years, 6 championships, but it's the disappointment of knowing that's the end of the run for you this year and you won't be able to attain a 7th.
Yeah, this year for sure. I mean, there's disappointment, but to be honest with you, the disappointment's been, the weeks leading up to right now. We just had a very competitive race and had a shot to win. So, we've dealt with that, and you're not going to win every championship battle you enter. We'd like to. But I've raced for 30-something years, and I've really only won 6 big championships. So the numbers show that you don't win a lot of championships. But we'll be back next year. Rules will change. We'll start looking and thinking about 15 now moving forward, and hopefully have our low Chevy where we need to next year.
Always acts like a champion, though. Jimmy Johnson. Alan?
Vince, thanks. And Brad Keselowski has driven into victory lane, presented by 5 Hour Energy.
Well, there are a couple of different ways to move on, but that was the right way. How in the world did you hold him off at the end and do that, Brad?
Well, I guess first off, Dave, maybe the right way wasn't probably last week, and went through a lot of adversity, and that makes this week, I think, a little more special. Been a long couple weeks, and to win and make it to the next round. And I know there's probably some people out there that aren't really happy I won. I can understand that, but I'm a man like anyone else who does things they ain't always that proud of, and I'm not real proud of last week, but I'm very proud of today, and everyone at Team Penske for the Reds' wicked AO car here. This Ford was fast. I knew it was fast the last time we were here, Dave, and we got caught up in wrecks, and I thought, man, if we can just get through a Speedway race this year without a wreck, I know we can win, and we're fortunate enough to do that today, and it's so special, man. I don't even know how to say it.
You talked about the emotion on the cool-down lap, Brad. What's going through your heart right now that you fought to this point?
Well, these guys is what's going through my heart, my team. I think, it was very easy to write ourselves off after the last 2 weeks, and we had one job to do, and that was come to Talladega and win, and we did it, and treated this weekend like Homestead, and if these guys can keep it up at this level, we got a shot at it, and I'm really, really thankful for that.
Would you call it your biggest win of the career?
I don't know how it... my first win of my career was here, Dave, and that was really big, and this is at least equal, and it's special. So I just want to say thank you, and thanks to everyone that cares about this team, the 2 team, and I'm just very, very thankful, very blessed. Thank everybody at Sprint that sponsors our series, and we're going to the next round, Dave.
Brad Keselowski, the winner, and moving on. Alan?
And so NASCAR has finished its double check of the finishing order and the championship scoring. And here is how the points stand and who's going on to the eliminator round. Logano, Harvick, and Keselowski with their wins. Then Newman, Hamlin, Kenseth, Edwards, and Gordon. And because Keselowski won, that made one fewer spot available on points. So Kane is out, along with Kyle Busch. And you already heard from Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. So there are the 8 drivers that'll move on to the eliminator round in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup that starts next Sunday afternoon in Martinsville, Virginia. More coming up from Talladega. What a win at Talladega for Brad Keselowski. His 3rd win here at Talladega in his 12th race here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And his 6th win of this season, and none coming at a better time than this one that gets him through into the 3rd round in the chase for his 2nd championship. Roger Penske with his back to you there, making his way down from where he watched the race from to greet his driver in victory lane. Both of his drivers moving on in this championship. So a look at how they ended up finishing today here at Talladega.
What a great run for Kenseth to get there, to even have a chance, but move himself on without winning a race to this point.
How about Landon Castle? Great top 5 finish for them. Travis Quappleman at 33 finished 6th. A lot of great finishes for some teams that needed them.
Yeah, Casey Mears there with a top 10.
So there's Casey Kane in 12th. Denny Hamlin in 18th. Jimmy Johnson finished 24th. Jeff Gordon 26th. Earnhardt Jr. 31st. And Kyle Busch wound up finishing in 40th place. Doc?
Well, Jeff Gordon will finish 26th, but that's not what's important. The important part, Jeff, is you move on in the chase. How would you describe this day?
I'm just mentally drained right now. It's always tough racing here at Talladega, trying to put yourself in position to win. But when you've got that much on the line, and you know that your championship hopes are right there in that final moment. it's nerve-wracking. So I'm proud of this team for the job they did. We had a great strategy. Unfortunately, the caution, hit us at the absolute worst time and put us behind there. But we fought hard. That last restart, the inside lane just didn't go anywhere, and I was just sitting there going backwards and couldn't do a thing. So I'm just glad we made it. I can't wait for Martinsville. I can't wait for Texas. Can't wait for Phoenix. All great tracks for us. And this team has done some amazing work this year. And these next three are where we're going to really shine and show it.
From the high of you making it, Jeff, to the fact that your three teammates did not make it, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Casey Kane, how difficult is that for you as a team?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, we knew that Jimmy and Junior were in tough positions, but if anybody can win this race, either one of those guys could. Casey Kane, I knew he was going to race hard all day, and he was in and out, and I really thought he was going to make it, but I guess what Kenseth with that late charge there may have been kind of the game changer there. But yeah, it's very difficult. These are three guys that could be major factors in this championship. Great teams, great drivers, and friends of mine. And I hate to see them not in there, but we're going to try to make Hendrick proud and go out there and get ourselves to Homestead.
The drive for 5 is still alive for Jeff Gordon.
Another big day for Ryan Newman here at Talladega in this round of the chase. 6th, 7th, and today 5th here at Talladega. You were in the front late. What's going through your mind knowing that you have to finish? You'd like to win, but more importantly, you have to finish with a good result.
Yeah, it's just a great result, I guess, in the end to make it to that next bracket for the Caterpillar Chevrolet. And everybody at RCR and ECR, just got to thank all their hard work and support. We just, I think to me, the next 3 races are the ones that are the most important to win. And we've been knocking on the door here the last 3, so we'll keep digging. Don't know how to answer any questions on that last restart. I don't know if I could have done anything better, or obviously could have done things worse, but just the way things line up, happy to stay in the top 5 there in the last couple laps.
Most importantly, still alive in that hunt for a championship. Ryan Newman, 5th at Talladega.
Well, Casey Kane just misses the cutoff by 3 points. The roller coaster, you're in, you're out. Describe what you're feeling right now, Casey.
Yeah, you're just trying to get the best finish you can. And basically the restart before, they all checked up in front of me, so I went high to get momentum, and that didn't work because I don't know why that didn't work, but it didn't work. So anyways, then I'm in 20th and got back to 11th. So it was tough if you weren't in the top few spots. Once we were up there early on, we could race up there. We had a great Farmers Insurance Chevy. Lead lap, just running the top 3, back to the lead. But once I was 10th, 8th, it was just really difficult to get back to that point. And I think we got back to 5th or 6th, but that was about it.
All right, Casey Kane, he's out of the chase moving forward.
6 races down, 4 to go. And we're on next to Martinsville to start the eliminator round of the chase. You think there won't be some pushing and shoving there?
Oh, certainly will be that. But I love this next round, how different these 3 tracks are. Who's going to be good enough to get the wins there?
Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix. Join us at the track and, of course, the championship finale in South Florida. The number at the bottom of the screen or NASCAR.com/tickets. How's your grid looking now? If you had Brad Keselowski making it on, then your grid's looking pretty good.
What a day it has been at Talladega Superspeedway with his season on the line. Brad Keselowski must win, and that's exactly what he did with the trip to victory lane, essentially eliminating several drivers, including 3 of the 4 Hendrick Motorsports cars. For me, that's the biggest surprise, I think, of this round. What's yours?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Kyle Busch. I mean, he'd been so consistent throughout this chase format. I thought for sure he would be in the mix to win a championship. He's gone. Really, really surprising.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Brad Keselowski. I mean, the guy's down. He's out. He drove us hard out. It's probably the best I think I've ever seen Brad Keselowski drive in my life. And what about Carl Edwards? Fantastic job out of Carl. He's in the top 8. He's looking good. I mean, these are guys that had up and down years. Carl, I'm talking about. But he stayed steady. He made it in. He's looking good. And Keselowski, wow, that's all I can say.
I think that's what's so great about this round. You can have a mistake, but Alan, you can make up for it by just getting to victory lane.
Well, Brad Keselowski had to work awfully hard to do that today here in Talladega, getting congratulations from NASCAR President Mike Helton. And so if you think about everything that we've seen in these last 3 races, The rumble last week at Charlotte, I'll call it. The rumble we saw on the racetrack today and everything that happened at Kansas. Now we look ahead to the next three. Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix. What are you expecting to see?
Yeah, hard racing. Who's going to step up? Obviously, this whole chase was designed about winning. Who's going to do that from this point forward? And I think, you look at next week, you got to think there's some drivers that certainly can do it there. I'm going to look ahead to Texas and think that the Penske cars, that's going to be their real opportunity for one of those to go to victory lane.
Yeah, when I look at the next week, Martinsville, I think at Jeff Gordon, 8 wins there. I think this next round really plays into him. And this, like you said, it's about winning now because you've narrowed it down to 8 guys. You're going to have to be able to win races if you want to win this championship.
So from 12 to 8 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup after a wild race here at Talladega, headlined by Brad Keselowski winning to move from outside the chase to in and continue his hopes for a championship. And we start the Eliminator round next Sunday at Martinsville here on ESPN with our telecast presented by AutoZone starting at 1 Eastern Time. What will we see in the final 3? If it's anything like these last 3, it's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. Clutch performance today from Brad Keselowski, and more coverage coming up on SportsCenter next. He came to Talladega needing to win to get in, and Brad Keselowski did just that here at the world's fastest speedway.